And we're live.
Well, everybody, happy Thursday. Welcome back to another episode of PM in the PM. That's right. Pong and Mav in the PM on an amazing Thursday evening, at least here in Central Time Zone, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time every Thursday. This is where you can find us, and we are back after Gamers Christmas. Although we keep getting gifts, and we got more shows coming up later in the year that is probably going to give us some more as well. We're going to talk about that. But we just had Gamers Christmas, and what a Christmas it was. Obviously didn't necessarily end on Sunday, but it certainly felt like it did because Xbox absolutely dropped the mic, as you guys obviously are well aware of, I think at this point, and everybody else has been talking about. So Mav and I are going to talk about some of it. We're not going to go game by game. We did a lot of that last weekend. Mav already had another show on FSP. Work is kicking his ass. Work is kicking my ass, but the energy levels are up, and we got a lot of exciting stuff to get into. So I hope you all are having a fantastic week so far, and I hope you're all ready to hear some excitement and some good news and some positivity. Man, I just got to say this up front, brother.
Yeah.
Before I get your intros, man. I have listened to, now back in the day, right? Even when I first started podcasting, my first probably year, 2 years, pandemic, everything going on. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I watched a ton of videos. Again, I am famous for having 3 tabs up at one time, watching different podcasts, being in multiple chats, going, people hitting me up in chat going, didn't I just see you over at Dirt's show? And I'm like, yep, you sure did. That was my thing, right? As I've podcasted, as we've continued on, as you know, real life has gotten back to normal, and I do not have the time anymore. I listen less and less. I got to say, since last week, obviously with Gamers Christmas starting, and then obviously after the Xbox showcase, I've listened to more shows and watched more videos than I have in a very, very long time. And I want to say this, Mav, we've gotten, you know, again, we're out in public with ourselves because we do podcasts on a weekly basis. We are out here. We show ourselves. So, you know, we got people that love us. We got people that hate us, and we got everybody in between as well. We sometimes get lumped in with a lot of other groups of people out here in this space. It's very easy to do that. People like to generalize everybody nowadays. So it's going to happen because of the types of shows we do, the types of shows we're on, and because of how we talk about topics, whether we're talking one way or we're talking the other way, we're going to get lumped into those groups. Let me just tell you this, Mav. I am so thankful for finding the Fun Speculation family. Everybody, like you, obviously, Kate, obviously, you know, everybody on down, right? Fuzzy, Steel, Psychonauts, 3-Bit, right? Jasper, although Jasper is kind of outside of this, but I love Jasper for it anyways. But I'm just saying, I am so happy that I found this core group of friends and extended family in my eyes, because I love you all over all these years, that we really have, when it comes to games, we generally all have the same type of mindset, right? And I should throw PTK and Boom and all everybody else in there too. But I'm just saying, we generally have the same type of feelings about gaming in general, because my God, have I listened to some people sit back and watch this show and then still nitpick apart some of the games or how they announce things. Like, you're more than welcome to do that. Again, if you're not on the side of me that this was a masterpiece, right? And again, when I say masterpiece, I don't mean perfect. That's cool. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm not talking about the 3 out of 10 guys out here too. Those people are absolutely ridiculous and whatever. Go find a new hobby. But I'm just talking about, if you want to nitpick, that's totally cool. Like, that's your thing. Glass half empty people, that's your thing. I know I'm a glass half full guy. I'm just really glad I found a group of people who do generally feel that same way. Not about every single thing. But in most cases, when we're watching shows or we come off of a week like this, it's like, yo, I could sit here and probably pick out a couple things, but I'm just going to talk about absolutely what I loved because there was so much of what I loved. Listen to some of these other shows. I was like, really? That's what you pulled? That's what you got from this?
Yeah.
That's really, I'm just happy that I found people that think more like me and then enjoy this stuff, because I would have a hard time going on a show and listen to somebody go, this show is about a 6, maybe a 7. What? Excuse me? I would be like, what? So I just got to say thank you to the entire family, to everybody, for the most part, everybody that I've podcasted with and that I've grown close to in this community. Man, I'm just so glad I found y'all, because my God, I could not come off this week and come on this show and be like,
Let's
it was good.
Every trailer instead of talking about how awesome things are.
Yeah,
you know?
it was
like,
good.
Yeah.
It was a solid 7 for me. It was a solid 7.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. What? And again, I will say this too. I am so happy I never joined the side of console warring in this community, coming off of showcases like this, coming off weeks like this, and in general. But especially this. Like, I don't know how you guys wake up every morning with the makeup on and decide to do it. And I don't know why some of y'all on the other side do reaction shows to these showcases when you know you don't enjoy a single game, whether it's real or not. You are not going to go live on the air to your audience and ever once get excited for a single game out of the showcase, other than maybe a look pretty good. Yeah,
or see, that was going to PlayStation.
Yeah. I can't imagine doing that during this time. I can't. Anyways, sorry, a little tangent there, but I've just listened to a ton of different content all over the place this week, just trying to get a good, wide ranging of opinions and just kind of what people were seeing and what people weren't seeing. And man, oh man, I was just like, man, I could not be a bummer this weekend. I don't know how you could be. I don't know how I could come on a show and say I was down about anything. But anyways, we're going to get into that. So Mav, my co-host, the man who is the president and CEO of the Fun Speculation Network. I know you're a little tired, sir, but we're going to try to get that energy up by talking some of this good gamingness that we've got going on, especially since one of our GOATs seemingly has been confirmed by somebody who does, for the most part, get things right when he does decide to talk, even though most people hate him for it. We're going to talk about that too. But Mav, how the hell are you, brother? Outside of working your ass off, how's gaming been, man? What you been up to?
Man, I've just been playing a little bit of here and there, Diablo, quite a bit. Still working on my rogue, getting her leveled up. Besides that, just been hopping into random just random stuff. But I've been more watching, like you've been more watching stuff lately. Like a lot of trailers, a lot of videos about all these games, because there's been a lot of stuff. There's been like a lot of games, and it's so hard to miss things. Like they've had, after the showcases, they've had like special in-depth deep dives on several games, and that's from Xbox and from other platforms also, and all these kind of things. So I've just been kind of relishing in all of this, and it's hard. Like I agree with your sentiments. Like it's hard with everything we've been getting to just sit there and like nitpick everything, because like there's been so much awesome stuff we've seen. And yeah, there's like some things that aren't always going to be like 100% what you want to see, or like the perfect showing or the perfect this or the perfect that. But like overall, in a general sense, like the amount of awesome shit we've got over the last week has been insane. The last PM of the PM was like Showcase Eve, right? We were coming off of the State of Play. That had just kind of happened, and we're rolling into Showcase season with Summer Game Fest was going to be the next day, and then we're going to have the Future Games show, and Xbox show, and all this stuff. And I got to say, overall, like there was like, okay, it started off a little slow with some things. It was just kind of like, it was everything kind of met expectations. There wasn't any surprises or all that kind of stuff. When the Xbox show happened, he just like slam dunked on the industry, like, and and just like made such a statement about like, this is, you want the feelings of showcase season, you want the feelings of like E3, you want the feelings of big gaming news, you want the feelings of awesome trailers, you want the feelings of new badass game announcements, you want the feelings of all this stuff. Here it is, all on one silver platter. 2 hours of gaming glory to salvage this amazing showcase summer that we just had, and it was because of Xbox's showing, and the rest of the industry kind of for the most part, let things down a little bit. I think Ubisoft had some decent stuff. They EA ended up doing their thing with the Dragon Age showing as well. Then you had other games that were kind of showing up on stages like IGN Live's things, and they were showing off pretty good and stuff like that. But overall, I think this whole week belonged to Xbox after their show, and it's pretty crazy to see. But like, one thing we were talking about on Monday that was like glaring, Pong, was just that the absence from the other big platforms. Like, it feels because of Xbox's strength and the showing that they had, like it feels more absent than ever, I think. And maybe it's because the state of play hit like it did. It was underwhelming. Maybe because Summer Game Fest usually has some better PlayStation stuff there as well, or even some more Nintendo things. But there was just like overall a glaring absence from the other big like platform holders that kind of like feels weird in a way. It kind of feels weird. Like, it's just like, where are they? You know? And that was more sitting back afterwards as a reflection of the week. That's been like as almost as glaring to me as Xbox's strength, right? So it's just an interesting place we're at with the industry and where games is going, and I think the combination of those things has like helped Xbox dominate this conversation this past week, and I think it's making an impact, and that's kind of what your suggestion for the thumbnail was, like, you know, this like what's the aftermath, right, of this now, this showcase that many people in media and gaming in general are calling one of the best showcases ever, period. The best Xbox showcase ever. Even people that don't even pay as much attention, or like big content creators or big YouTubers and stuff that were watching, doing reactions to this, that usually are kind of impartial or don't really give Xbox a lot of attention.
I watched Asmongold.
And Mac Calorie told me to watch Maximilian dudes like reaction, like South and Midnight too. Like I watched some of this stuff, and I don't watch these guys that much, but I see kind of like overall their general sentiment. They're kind of like impartial, just whatever with some of these things. Like, they are more or less just kind of unbiased and give their reactions because they're more into PC gaming and all this other kind of stuff, right? But seeing like the overall just general sentiment from games media, from these other people that don't pay as much attention, they were saying things like, this is what Xbox used to be, you know? They were saying like, Xbox is back. This is the feelings that Xbox used to give us back in the day, and they were trying to remind their audiences of like what Xbox used to be back in the 360 era and stuff. And this is what we said that they needed to do, right? Like, and to see this reaction of, it's like finally they understood the assignment, you know, and they accomplished the goal.
Here we go with another one of our interests. Got to jump in real quick, man, because you're actually touching on something that I was going to bring up, right?
Yeah.
And we might as well just hop into this conversation. So welcome all. I'll get to the chat shout outs here. We'll do our normal, but sometimes we do this. Steele and I do this all the time on Saturday mornings too, in Livy Split Screen. With just two of us, it's easy to do this because we kind of get talking. You know, Rand and Jez do this all the time too. But you bring up a perfect point, because one of the things sitting back, and we'll talk about it. One of the topics I did want to bring up, I want to ask you, now that you kind of sat back, kind of some of the stuff, I'll just give you a heads up, you know, a couple of things, like the specific things now that are really popping up out of that showcase for you. So we'll talk about that as far as games go. But I just want to, I did want to touch on this, Matt, because something that has kind of settled into me is that this showcase is in some ways bittersweet. Right. And what I mean by that is everything you just said is facts, right? Like the general sentiment across the board from even the mainstream media. We always said, Matt, this day was going to come, right? That Xbox was undeniable, right? That there was going to come to a point, and we're talking years ago, right? When we started seeing what Phil was forming here and what we kind of got, high level speculation, just kind of taking a big step back and kind of trying to see what his big plans were, where his vision was leading Xbox. That this is exactly the moment we knew they could have. Now, we thought they were going to have this a couple years ago, or even a couple years ago, right? Without the pandemic, right? Because nobody saw the pandemic coming. Nobody knew what kind of monkey wrench that was going to throw in to this generation. But I was sitting back, man, and I've been thinking about this ever since the showcase and kind of during this week, as I've been watching all these clips and all these videos and all these people talking about this. This is Xbox showing up with an old school E3 knockdown, drag out showcase when the other big two used to be a part of E3. Like, this is they were only battling themselves here. Let's be real. The people comparing this to the state of play, stop that nonsense too. Okay. The state of play, again, there's no contest. It's not even worth it to put it into conversation. It's a totally different type of show that Sony had. Even though they're around this time, it doesn't matter. That's not the expectation levels. Xbox was really competing against themselves here. But this is why we always said, Mav, and this is why I think it's bittersweet, that they were going to eventually have this lineup, that there was going to come a time and a point, and we thought it was going to be a year, 2 years before this, where they were going to come to a showcase and absolutely lay it all out. And people were not going to be able to deny anything about what Xbox has going on, especially when it comes to Game Pass, when it comes to value, when it comes to high quality titles, when it comes to a lot of titles. Everything was going to fall into place. And had this happened 2 years ago, Mav, even take out ABK, take out COD out of the showcase, take out COD out of the showcase, take out World of Warcraft out of the showcase, take out, Diablo, anything active, Diablo, take out Diablo, right? Take those out. They show up 2 years ago and do a showcase like this exact lineup with Starfield in it. Do you think we're talking about them doing multi-plat now? Do you think we're talking about them, their Game Pass, having kind of stalled out their sales? I don't think so, Mav.
Yeah.
I think this was Phil's vision, like we always agreed upon. Now, things change, things happen. But that's why I was sitting back and I'm like, Mav, this is what we always talked about in our shows happening. Like, this was that moment for Xbox, right? That was this is how we thought when we first started this generation, they were going to start grabbing the mind share, because we knew the talent was there. Mm-hmm. We knew that Phil had put together this huge umbrella. Again, even take out Activision Blizzard King just with ZeniMax. And we were talking about some other, moves back then before the ABK deal about who they could acquire. He was assembling this massive core group of developers and teams with all this IP that was going to be able to bring a lineup that was so compelling that we thought they could flip the mind share. This is why, again, not going to go back and revisit, but I'm just going to say this is why I never agreed with Phil when he said, just there's no world in which we create a 10 out of 10 Starfield and people switch consoles. Okay, maybe not one game, but when you come with lineups like this, and this isn't just a one-time deal, they have basically a whole nother showcase they didn't show here too on top of it. Okay, they basically have a whole nother day of games they could have shown here.
Yeah.
This is the moment we thought that they could have a couple years ago. Now, it's history, right? It's history. We are where we are. But man, oh man, you see the attitude change, man. And I'm going to give it back to you here. You see the attitude change from so many people who have been down on Xbox, right? In the mainstream media. And again, why do I bring up the mainstream media when I hate them and I say they're burning themselves down to the ground and they have no integrity? Because they still speak to the masses. I told you all before the showcase, when the articles go out from the mainstream media, when those people that only go to IGN for their information or watch Asmongold streams for their information, and they start seeing the list of different games, like what that was going to do, because people were going to be like, what Xbox has all of this, those people outside of this community. And I saw that attitude change all this week, Mav, and it was fascinating to me. Like I said, a little bit bittersweet, because this is what we talked about. This is how we thought they could flip this gen, and how they could start that mind share flip, man. And so, yeah, I'll give it back to you, but give me your thoughts on some of that stuff too, Mav. We've talked about this for so long, to finally see it happen. It was kind of like sitting back going, we knew it. We saw this coming, man. Look at this. Look at how beautiful it is.
It's taken them a long time to get to this show that we expected them to have, right, at some point. And we've been bullish on it, man. We've been stubborn on this. Like, everybody is like dooming and glooming or all these other things. We're like, guys, you just don't understand. You know, like you don't know what's all out there. Like, all these things that have been announced, these projects exist. Those games are in development. Like, all these things have been happening. And that's why we've been thinking they were going to have one of these shows the last couple of years. Like, I mean, they've had some really good showcases.
Good shows.
Really great showcases. Nothing like what we called out that they could do, right? And that's what they did this time. They laid it all out there. Like, 2 years ago, they did the 12-month show, right? Everything's within 12 months, right? Because they had that 2022 that was so weak, and they came out there and decided to do that. We're like, why? Why do the 12-month thing? Because you're leaving these exciting big things that you have on the table, right? Well, I guess maybe they just weren't ready to show some of it. And then the 2023 came, and they had a good show last year, right? We loved the show. We thought it was awesome.
Loved it.
But still, they had a lot of things that they left on the table, and a lot of us were thinking, was it because of ABK? Like, it wasn't done yet? Like, what's the reasoning? They haven't gone all out yet, right? And then this was a year. That's why we kept saying over and over again before the show, this was going to be we believed this was going to be the showcase of showcases. We believed that this was going to be the one that they were going to go out there and they were going to show the goods and lay everything out there on the table and make that statement that we felt like they could have been making for years if they had been ready to, right? And it took longer than I think they would have liked, and it took longer than for a lot of people, because it caused insecurities. People forget about these games. People get worried about these games. People say Xbox can't deliver and all these other kind of things, right? But now you go out there and you make a statement like this, and you finally show everything that you've been working on. And a lot of that doom and gloom, a lot of the insecurities, a lot of the worry, a lot of the concerns melts away. Instead, it's excitement about what's to come. And they put that out there, and that's that undeniable, obvious, look, here it is. Here's the games we're making. Here's the pipeline. Here's the roadmap. Here's the future of Xbox. And here's why you should be excited. And also, you add that in with the value prospect of Game Pass, cross-buy, cross progression, like everything they're doing as far as consumer-wise, adding value to every single one of those games that we've seen. And that's the next step about educating the consumers and the people that are getting used to the Xbox ecosystem again and starting to try the games again. First, they got to have the exciting games to bring them in, right? Then when they get there, you start to understand the other value prospects, and that word of mouth even starts even more. And then the expectations shift for the competition. Well, like, Xbox is doing this, why can't you guys do it, right? And that's that competition aspect. But first, you got to deliver the things that bring the people in, right? And this is the kind of showcase that shifts that mind share, shifts that mentality from the masses, where they don't sound as ignorant anymore when they're talking about Xbox, because they actually start looking into these games, right? They actually start looking into these things. So the ignorance when they're covering this stuff starts to melt away, and all of a sudden the coverage gets a little bit better from games media. All of a sudden the big content creators or other people that are just talking about the stuff start to pay a little bit more attention, and casually talk about the stuff more. And that kind of permeates it. It's all a mind share thing. And all of a sudden, just like that, it can be cool to like Xbox again. Right.
Yep.
And that's when that switch is flipped and people start talking, I was like, oh man, did you see what they had? Like, I haven't seen anything like that from anybody else. And that's where the other aspect of this comes in. The glaring absence of the rest, right? Because if Xbox is bringing this much to draw that much attention, where is the rest? And we'll see maybe later this year. Right now, but it feels like a hole. It feels like an absence there, a lack of excitement over the rest of the platform holders as far as what they're bringing anytime soon. And this is Xbox's right now. This is their opportunity to seize the moment and they're going to seize it sooner than later because they got lots of content coming this year, which is something that nobody else can say. So they're going to keep doing that. They got new hardware, and we'll see how they do with sales. I mean, at the end of the day, consoles aren't the end all be all for Xbox, but I think it's just still going to move some units when these games start dropping and stuff.
Did it move the needle, Mav?
The needle, that needle. Oh, that needle. You know,
yeah,
if there was a needle mover as for a showcase, this was a needle mover.
Yeah, if it didn't move your needle, nothing ever will. Okay, and again, there was some people like
move
that.
Your needle.
Yeah, move your needle, your noodle, or whatever. Yeah, a lot of people were exposed here too.
Yeah.
Again, it is insane to me, Mav, how many people actually get paid for content creation, right? Or who are in the media, who this showcase exposed again. As Alex, every time I say exposed,
90% of them.
But right, it is crazy to me that these people that are paid to do this every day don't know shit.
Yeah.
Jack shit. Don't pay attention to anything out of their small bubble to understand. Seemingly, again, could some of them be faking it for reactions and just for their own sake when they do their show? Of course. But I don't believe that of everybody. There are just so much ignorance. Like, they honestly never counted out how many studios Xbox now have and figured out that they have a slate of games. Like, they honestly just thought Xbox was going to continue to come with Forza, Gears, and Halo. Like, that's how legit shocked some of these people are. And they had no idea that these games were ready to be shown, or no idea that even some of these games were in the works. I'm like, yo, like, where you guys been? Yeah. This is why it's so crazy to me, because there is such bigger, and I hate the term, but it is what it is. It is true. Influencers out there who have these massive audiences that are legit not giving their audiences good information, but their audiences run with it or have the same ignorance because that's all they watch. And that's what I talk about. The masses who go to these certain one places because that's what they know, that's what they like, that's cool, but they don't get the complete picture about what's been going on. A lot of our shows that have been preaching for years about this on the Xbox side of things, especially, you guys would have been hearing us for 3 years talk about it. And yes, sure. Can it become kind of like a cry wolf situation because we don't get the insider knowledge? So we continuously every year come out and say, God, man, maybe this has got to be the year, man. This has got to be. They got all this stuff in the works, and then they have a great showing, but it's not everything. But here we are with this showcase, man. And my God, again, what a bittersweet moment for me to sit back and look at this and go, man, this is exactly what we were talking about. If things had been a little bit different, you're telling me that if there was an exclusive listed after 80, 90% of the games that we saw on Sunday, that you couldn't compete toe to toe with Sony?
Yeah.
I think you could. But again, that's not the world we're living in. But that's why I just sat back. But it was so awesome to see. And that's why I took in so many shows this week and just watched so many, even people that I normally would never watch, just to see their reactions, especially, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more in a little bit here too, Gears of War E-Day. Again, for me, like, again, I'll give you guys, not a big shocker here, but man, I thought I was out on a limb for all these years, the way that I talked about 4 and 5. I suddenly turned around after Sunday, Mav, and found that I was out here with a whole lot of people. Maybe they didn't say anything publicly, but there's a lot of people out here expressing the same thoughts I had on 4 and 5 and that story and the whiny ass freaking kids, that I was like, hey, oh, okay, I guess I'm not alone. Let's go. So we're going to talk about that too. But man, what a great show. Just what a great way to cap off the week. And again, there's been so much loss. Like, even going back and looking at some of the other games from the other showcases that happened during the week, just so many games, man. Just so much content coming yet again. Yes, some of the other showcases certainly didn't deliver at the level that we would like them to, but my God, there was still so much to be excited for as a gamer. Like it is, what a man, golden age is here, brother. Golden age is here, man. And it was just great. And I'm happy to sit down with you tonight and talk about it and chat you guys too. I know you guys, the energy levels have been high. Like this has been unbelievable. Like it always helps when the other side seems to go quiet and gets drowned out. And this is what I talk about. Battle that stuff back with positivity. And that's what I've seen this week, man, is nothing but positivity. People, again, the Gears love out here is incredible, especially now that everybody knows we're going back. Like the Gears love is off the charts, but South of Midnight, Mab, I heard you talk about this. South of Midnight is driving a lot of conversation as well. Like there is just so many things. Doom is freaking off the charts. Like everybody, like even myself included, because I didn't see a whole lot of platforming in that trailer. We'll see. But my God, if this is the older style Doom and the only platform is me flying on a dragon, well, count me in. Yeah. We're going. So, but we're going to get into all of that. I want to get the chat shouted out here and then we'll drop into it. Any final thoughts, Mav, on anything that we just talked about? Because I know we kind of did a topic.
Yeah, it's just been crazy to see, man. Like, just overall, like this amount of conversation about these games finally, you know?
Yes.
And it wasn't just, like, I know we'll probably talk individually more about the games specifically, right? But it wasn't just about how many there were, right? But they had to show well. And the conversation, like in the past, sometimes when these games are shown, it's like, it is that what we talked about earlier, like you were talking about earlier, like overly nitpicking things, or like, you know, like with Halo Infinite, you had the Craig moment, or like, you know, like things like that, where it's just, you put this like negative spin on this, something that was overall great, you know, but all of a sudden now there's like the negative little piece like drives 90% of the conversation, right? And now with this, like there's very little of that, you know, and the ones that are out there doing that, like they really stand out as like, okay, you guys are kind of like, you know, being a little bit over critical here because like this was all awesome. So those people are kind of showing themselves for who they are, the cynical assholes, a lot of them. But overall, like they had to show well, and they did, you know. And that it's not that every game is going to be for everybody, or that every game's going to be exactly what you hoped or wanted it to be. But they're like, there's like not really, you're not really able to deny the quality of what was shown, right?
Right.
And that's a very 100% important thing that they delivered with this.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree with you. From watching the reactions, like even the people who tried to claim the show was mid or there wasn't games for them or whatever the case may be, the one thing I didn't hear a whole lot of, there was still some of those clowns out here who will do it all, and no matter what, was a whole lot of that these games didn't look ready or didn't look like they were coming together as quality or any of that stuff, right? That's the one thing that was different this time around than the usual nonsense that goes on out here. I didn't see a lot of that. I think everybody knew they were going to get laughed out of the building if they even tried it, right?
And it was a perfect mix of like stuff coming soon, stuff coming later, but about. Even the stuff that's coming later, you gave the good glimpse at what the vision is for it. So now the questions are of what kind of game is it, or what is it going to look like, or have kind of melted away, and it adds that confidence about the project. It adds the excitement about the project that I think honestly can, you know, I don't know a lot about game dev, but I would think seeing that positive outlook about your vision and people like saying, "Oh, I'm on board with this. I love this." Could help the confidence of the development team push through towards knowing that they were on the right track. You know what I mean? That everything's is on the up and up as far as where they want to be. You know, you don't have this like, oh shit, we're gonna have to go revisit this now because everybody hates it. You know, like there's none of that in this show. Everything, even the games that are further away, you know, that showed up, we're like, okay, like, can we make this actually happen? Please, you know, like this is what. Now the question is, I think in the back of some people's minds is like, is some of it too good to be true, right? And that's like what I would rather the mindset be, right? As
Right.
opposed to like, oh, that's looks a little disappointing, you know. So like this is what they needed to do, man. Delivered on
In
everything.
spades.
Yeah.
In spades, man. Great. Man, I guess just sit here and talk all night about this because what's even crazier sitting back and thinking about it, Mav, they had an entire, hour and what was it? What it wound up being an hour and 35, hour 40, hour 35, hour 35, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Showcase filled with, yes, sprinkled in third party, but no Eastern showcase that we thought that they've had for the past 2 years, 3 years now. They've had an Eastern section of the showcase. None of that. Minimal third party stuff. The third party stuff that showed was great. We're going to probably talk about
very minimal indie stuff too.
Yeah, very minimal indie stuff out of that, except for that Willowboro one or whatever the heck it was called, the little mouse game. Very little indie stuff, very little third parties, and they filled up an entire show by themselves. Like that's nuts, man.
Yeah, over half of the games shown were actual first party games.
Yes. Yeah, 17 of them or 18 of them, I guess, according to Greenberg or whatever it was. 17 or 18, whatever it was. Yeah, absolutely mind-boggling to think about, but exactly what we called out that they could do. So, man, all right, we're going to get into it, but first things first, I got to shout out this chat, this amazing chat. Hey, well, first of all, Matt, you been playing anything recently that you want to talk about? Anything at all?
Diablo.
Yeah. Diablo?
Yeah.
Nice.
What
Very nice. Diablo, a little bit. This week's been really chill on game. I've been trying demos. Steam has huge amount of demos right now. I posted this morning some screenshots from both Flintlock and the Altars. Those have been the two main ones. I've tried some other ones here and there as well. But Flintlock, it's not ultimately going to be for me. They call it a Souls Light. It is too Soulsy for me. Souls fans are going to have a really good time in this game. This game is obviously a smaller developer, you can tell, but let me tell you, the polish so far that I've seen, and they included a photo mode in their demo, for God's sakes. Like, it's a limited photo mode, but they gave me a photo mode map in my demo. Like, I'm like, okay. You get bonus points for that. But I think there's some really unique mechanics that they're throwing into the game with the god that's with you, the little fox dude, the flying fox guy that everybody knows. I think his name is Enid. They throw in some interesting mechanics that you use with him while you're attacking enemies as well. And I think some, Souls fans and even some hardcore action fans are going to find love with this game, with the gunplay on top of, with the mix of melee. People are going to really like this game. I think the story is totally cool. Really digging the main character. I forget her name. Really digging her character so far. And the acting is well done so far. But it is going to be too Soulsy for me. I'm not going to spend my time in it. But coming to Game Pass, everybody should be on the lookout for Flintlock. Definitely on the rise. And I think there's going to be a lot of positivity around this game for sure. The Altars. Let me tell you.
I heard people talking about this. Yeah, that's the one where it's like you like there's clones of yourself or whatever, and yes,
and it's kind of like a Fallout Shelter meets Death Stranding meets, like, this game is right up my alley. This game, outside of some wonky running animations, like the world itself at times is almost as detailed and beautiful as Death Stranding. Like that, it's crazy. Like, it looks like that good. It's got that really sharp look to it, and it's kind of the setting because you're on this, kind of planet. Can be ultra beautiful. But the running animations and the walking animations, the kind of the main character animations are kind of, you could tell it's a small dev, again, indie dev. So I don't personally care, but it kind of just, it's glaring because it's in this beautiful world. Right. So you kind of notice that, but outside of that, like, so far, just hopping into it, exploring the world, just getting into the big wheel base that you got to move and that kind of stuff, starting to craft and starting to open up things because you got to build it out. With the time limit on it, because for people who don't know, the radiation levels get super high at night, so you have to make sure you're in the ship, otherwise you risk losing your life out there in the wild. So you got a time limit, you got to sleep You got to decide how much you're going to sleep, because how much you sleep determines how much energy you have to work the next day. So there's a lot of different systems at play here that you do have to wind up balancing out. But as a survival, base building, exploration type game with a really kind of cool story so far, it's dope, man. Like, I can't wait for the altars to show up day one on Game Pass. This is going to be a cool ass game. So I'm really enjoying that as well. I've got a couple other games I want to jump into. I did jump into V Rising as well. For people who don't know, the PlayStation version dropped. Again, no word on Xbox yet. The PlayStation version dropped, which means native controller support for Steam also dropped. This is what I've been waiting on. I've had this game. I bought this game like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But it didn't have native controller support. It had partial support. But again, I'm not going in fooling around with all the settings and binding all the keys to my controller.
Yeah.
I'm just not like that with my PC gaming yet.
Yeah.
I want to plug and play. So I did drop into that for about an hour and a half. Sweet ass game. Like, again, I'm partial because I like vampires.
Yeah.
I like vampire settings. There hasn't been enough vampire games in my life, so I'm partial to them. But V Rising, cool.
How much ARPG is it? Like,
it's ARPG in the open world a lot. Okay, a lot. But it is also survival, right? And crafting, and you got to build out your castle. You got to do all of that. It is a survival game at heart too. Now, I only to start out, I created my own server, right? So I could just fool around in the world by myself. I'm not doing PvP. Now, they have alternate servers where there's no PvP. It's just PvE, but it's multiplayer as well. The game's built to be multiplayer. You can tell.
Yeah.
And it'd be really dope to get a bunch of us running around in this world and doing shit. But yeah, there's a lot of ARPG to it, right? So you got your skills that go to certain button presses. You hold them down, they keep doing it over and over again, attack or whatever the case may be. You got magic, you got all sorts of, you drink the blood of animals because you got to keep your blood levels up. If you drink the bloods of the same type of creatures over and over again, you wind up getting some of their skills. And same goes for human beings. Like, I drank the blood of a rogue. Like, I found this rogue trapped in a spider nest. Like, he was trapped in an egg, and he started attacking me when I broke him out. So I killed him, but I drank his blood before I actually wound up killing him. All of a sudden, I could dual wield. I was like, oh, all of a sudden I'm walking around with dual axes. I'm like, oh, okay, this is dope. All right. So yeah, there's some of the, it's really cool. I understand why it became so big on PC. So yeah, I'm planning on diving into more V Rising too. Cause again, I've had it sitting there for 3 months, just waiting on the controller support. So, but controller support works great. It's a little wonky. It's not perfect. Like your camera, to turn your camera, in the world, you got to hold left trigger to turn your camera, which is a little different, but it works. It's like you don't need to be doing it all the time anyways.
Right.
But yeah, so some of that stuff is like, okay, well, it's a little bit different, but not too bad. So yeah, having a good time with V Rising. I'm going to hop in more into it and let you guys know more about it, but keep your eyes on Flintlock for all you Souls fans out there. And even you hardcore action people who like a challenge. I think this is kind of fit in between those two in a lot of ways. So keep your eyes on Flintlock. Really good quality so far. And then again, the altars, I can't wait to play that game when it fully comes out. That is gonna be fun as hell, man. I can't wait to see more of the story and stuff. So that's what I've been doing. Nice. Yeah. It's been a weird week, just jumping into demos and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna also jump into a couple more too, because I think whatchamacallit, the tactics game. Oh my god, I can't think right now. God dang it, what's the tactics game? Anyways, yeah, there's a couple more. I'll talk about them next week when I hop into them. But yeah, go check that out if you guys have Steam. Lots of demos out there right now. Lots of demos. Chat. Shout you out. Oates, I see you in the house. What's going on, Oates? Thank you for being here. We got the Poison Maniac, of course, dropping on in here. We got the Herd Theorem in here. What's going on, Herd Theorem? We got the Death Leopard. What's going on in here? Herd Theorem says, Pong, the Eternal Grazer. Yes, I am the Eternal Grazer. That is one way to put it. Freaking lootly. Def Leopard's in the house. I said that. Def, thank you so much for being here. We got the Slip Space Games in the house. What's going on, Slip Space? Web Dave jumping in here. I see you, brother. Great to see you. Thank you for jumping in here as always, sir. Shane G, of course, is in the house. What's up, Shane G? Sup, guys? What a showcase. What a showcase. We just had a whole intro where we kind of talked about, but we're going to dive into a little bit more here too as well. But yeah, Shane, man, what a Sunday it was. The Moon Man. That's right. What is going on, brother? So great to have you in here. Appreciate it. Who else we got in here? We've got Duke Togo 13 in the house. What's up, Duke Togo? Great to see you. Who else we got in here? God, you guys have been talking a lot because we've already talked a lot. Zay429. What is going on, Zay? Thank you for joining us tonight. We got Why So Serious in here. What's going on? Why So Serious? We got It's Timmy. It's Timmy's in the house. As always, what's going on? It's Timmy. We got Cygnus in the house. What's going on, Cygnus? Great to see you as well. Who else we got in here? E Ranks is in the house. What's up, E Ranks? Thank you for dropping on in here. We got 13 dog holes. 13 dog holes. Okay. All right, 13 dog holes.
Not 14.
There are so many questions I have for some of the names we see in our chat sometimes. It's crazy.
Is that another word for donut holes?
Maybe. I love donuts. So donuts are donuts
a baker's dozen.
Bread. Yeah, that is a baker's dozen, but bread is my vice, but man, donuts is freaking ridiculous. Anyways, 13 dog holes. Thank you. He says the show was fire, but the one question that I have is why is the digital only Series X only 1 terabyte? Definitely needed to be 2 terabytes, especially with this crazy lineup coming. Price point, pure and simple price point. You saw the kind of eyebrow raising price on the 2 terabyte Series X. They didn't want to bump little man into the next price level, really. So I think that's pretty much what it was just price point. They figured people who were buying the Series S, going to be a different level of gamer in a lot of ways, and they could probably get by with the 1 terabyte. But I do agree, obviously, as a grazer, I never have enough memory. So never. So I got 2 terabytes on my PC. I'm already down to 300 gigs, I think. I got to go back and delete some stuff. So,
13 dog hole says he's a woodworker.
Woodworker. Okay. So is dog holes a woodworking term then? Is that where it comes from? I'm assuming so. The legendary Yobi's in the house. What's up, legendary Yobi? Again, legendary Yobi got me the Retro S console. Yobi, I have not had a chance to actually play this thing as of yet this week, but I am going to be playing it, and I will post some. I'm going to have to take pictures because I can't take screenshots on this thing, but I'm going to be going back and playing some Neo Geo. I'm going to be going back and playing some Game Boy Advance. I might even play some freaking Virtual Boy games plus Sega Genesis games. 8,000 games on that thing. That was my birthday gift from the legendary Yobi. I am going to be posting about it, Yobi, as soon as I get an opportunity to play that thing. But legendary, thank you again, and appreciate you being here, brother. Masshole 1977. What is going on in here, Masshole? I am not rooting for your Celtics. I'm not rooting for anybody. Again, I don't do sports like that. I pay attention to the Minnesota teams, but I'm out completely. I don't have energy for this nonsense, man. I don't. Thank God. Tent Gaming. What is going on in here, Tent? Great to see you as always. Magnum, of course, is in the house. The Flintlock demo Magnum. It's all on PC. It's on Steam. So they dropped the Steam demo. It's not on console, so there is no way for console-only players, unfortunately, to play Flintlock demo. Maybe they will drop it later, but right now it's only on Steam. Nate Dogg is in the house, of course. Nate Dogg, thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you joining us as always. Dion Hayes is dropping by the show. What's up, Dion? And he says, and Paris also said, y'all ain't ready because you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait for the Tokyo Game Show and Gamescom where they'll show more off more of the games from Xbox. We've been talking about forever, brother. We've been talking about forever. That's right. There's a whole nother showcase worth of games that they could have shown here that we've been talking about prior to. It never stops now, man. This is where they're at. It's going to be fun, man. The rest of the year is going to be fun. Abdel114, what is going on, Abdel? Great to see you in here. We got the Doom Reaper in the house. What's up, Doom? Always good to see you. Thank you for dropping in here and saying hi. We got Void Rat in the house. What's up, Void Rat? Duke Togo 13. I don't know if I called you out before. Maybe I did, but you get a second one if I did. Great to see you. Thank you for dropping in here, Duke Togo. Who else? Flush Jackson's in the house. What's up, Flush? Great to see you as well. We got Bledsoe 45 SBC in here. What is going on, Bledsoe? Thank you for dropping in here. They were trying to find stuff to downplay the showcase. So many negative articles makes me laugh. Yeah, there was some of it, but overall, I got to say they could not deny this. This was undeniable from Xbox what they did, and there was a lot more love for the showcase than normal from the usual clown show. So anyways, who else we got in here? Oh, of course, we got the brother from another Steel Rain dropping on by saying, I'm dancing naked. I am the rain. Listen, sir, calm down. It's not after midnight yet. You got to keep your clothes on until after midnight, Steel. You know the rules.
Steel
okay?
Rain. Steel
It's not time for wild. Yeah, it's not time for Wild Steel yet. Okay? After dark rain happens after midnight.
Dancing
all right, sir?
in the rain.
Oh, I can't wait to get on Saturday's show and talk some gears with him too. Ooh, boy, we're gonna have some fun Saturday morning. Buzz, what is going on, Buzz? We got Shangri-La for life. What is going on? Thank you for dropping in here. It says all the Xboxes in my local Walmarts. I have 2 near me. They're all out. PlayStations are stacked full. Listen. We're going to find out the sales numbers eventually here, see how much of a bump, see how much stock they had out there. Like, if this moved the needle for a lot of people, I certainly think it did. I can see the Game Pass subs climbing as we speak. I think it's going to move the needle. How much, we will come to find out. But yes, I definitely believe that right now Xboxes are harder to find. Punty 050. What's going on, Punty? Great to see you in here. Thank you always for joining us. We got the Snooky Jackson in the house. What's up, Snooky Jackson? Great to see you. We got the James Thomas in here. What's going on, James Thomas? And we got the man with the biggest stick of them all, and he's not afraid to swing it around and hit you in the face with it. Pause. That's right, the one and only Boss Mod. Lethal Papa's in the house. Boss Mod, great to see you, sir. Thank you for joining the show. We got the Lonzo86 in here. What's up, Lonzo? Great to see you. Says no Blade, no Elder Scrolls, no Everwild. Xbox still has a lot in the tank. Oh, so much. It's not even funny. Spider-Man 356. What is going on? Great to see you dropping in here. Who else we got in? We got the Brandon Martin, of course, dropping in here. What's up, Brandon Martin? Great to see you. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's Alex when Doom showed up. Yeah, that was classic, bro. Classic, man. I watched Alex's reactions as well. Who else we got in here? Oh, my God. You guys are crazy tonight, man. Like I said, the energy levels are just ridiculous. All things PlayStation. What's going on? All things PlayStation. Great to see you. It's not about doom and gloom from Microsoft. It is for the traditional console from Xbox. Yep. 3-bit. What are you doing in here, brother? Great to see you. You're married now. You can't be spending time around us anymore, man. We're bad influences on you, man. You can't. She knows, man. You don't be breaking rules. 3-bit. Get out of here. Go back. You got attention to give her. Grim Jr. is in the house. What's up, Grim Jr.? Great to see you as well. I think that's as far as I can go up. Let's see who's in the bottom. And I'll get to you, Mav. Dropping some coal off here, Mav. I see you
with the $2 super chat.
Did Alvin? Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah. Alvin with the $2 super. Alvin! $5.99 Series X model is greenlit for $6.99 PS5 Pro. Yes, sir. I can't disagree with you, Alvin. They know how much the PlayStation is probably going to roll in on at the Pro, and the tools seem to be working right now because all of a sudden, Mav, Unreal Engine 5 is starting to show up and not having issues. I'm liking it. Yeah. I'm liking it.
It's starting to look pretty good. I gotta admit. Yeah.
Yep. Nathan Hardman, what is going on? Great to see you. Says good afternoon, peep. Caitlin, what is up, Caitlin? The beautiful Miss Caitlin. Wonderful job on the thumbnail. I hope Mav showed you my DM. I said, I see this, but whatever Caitlin wants to do. Okay. So if you didn't want to do the whole, nuclear explosion, I said whatever Caitlin wants to do, but appreciate you. It was amazing as always. Thank you, my dear. Who else we got in here? Nam Omar, of course, is in the house. What's up, Nam Omar? Thank you for dropping in here as always, brother. Great to see you. I think I've got pretty much. Oh, FarQ's in here, of course. What's up, FarQ? Great to see you as well, brother. BT Maverick 707 coming in here, causing causing the hype train. That's right. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. Attention aboard the Fun Speculation Hype Train. We have a special announcement. Please pay attention to those screens above your head where you get important information while we are traveling at speeds that are dangerous to your health if you do not follow directions. So, attention, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we had the one and only. We had the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network. That's right. He's up here at the front of the train with me, shoveling coal. He said, "Oh, Pong, I brought my own bag of coal because we're not going to start this show off after Gamers Christmas at a Mach 2.0. We got to get that up to a Mach 2.5. So Mav got on the court with the easy 5 layup. That's right. He dropped off that bag of coal. Mach 2.5 has been achieved. We added another car. So all you new speculators, thanks to the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network's generosity, I need you all to pay attention to the attendants as they help you take your seats and buckle down the 4-point harnesses. Because you got to strap in nice and tight. And that goes for all you veterans around here as well. Double check those straps. We don't want to lose you on this hype train. And then, of course, the BT Maverick came in with his own easy 5 layup as well. Said, "Mav, I see you. And I got another bag of coal. Rush this up to the front of the train. Get that furnace burning a little bit hotter because we're going to Mach 3.0 out the gate." BT Maverick keeping us hashtag bean free.
Bean free.
2024. Bean free. Coffee bean free. We ain't slinging no coffee around here. And your goal for the month of June, that's right, your goal is still 7,000 even now. 7,000 for the rest of the month. Let's go, everybody. Even. I gave you all a bunch of extra credit. Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Only
choo,
one thing I got to say about that.
Choo choo.
Yeah.
Choo choo.
I was just gonna. Oh, bro, it's beautiful. I was hoping you clipped it. I was hoping you got it. Listen,
one more
y'all.
time.
Choo choo. Choo choo.
Freaking amazing, bro.
Let's go.
Freaking amazing, bro. I absolutely listen, y'all. We were talking about this. We were laughing about this, but obviously, Machine Games, Todd Howard, somebody over there watches us. So they picked up on the choo choo motherfucker, right? And then the Ubisoft showcase had Suns Out, Shades On.
Yeah.
Basically. There's a lot of people in the industry watching the Fun Speculation Network. That's all I got to say, man. It was a hell of a weekend for us. That is the perfect. God, I love that clip, man. I die laughing. I've watched it so many times because I watched back the showcase by itself 3 times, right? On my own, watch the showcase 3 times. And then watching all the reaction shows, whenever that comes on, almost everybody to a T is laughing because it is so freaking great, man. What a great bunch of writers over there at Machine Games. They understand the assignment when it comes to Indiana Jones. Amazing. Anyways, man, y'all are awesome up in here. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I really do miss, though, Mav. And I mentioned him earlier because Jasper is the one that always comes in and was like, it's okay. Okay. I really do miss I want to know, Jasper, if you're lurking, if you've had a chance
to rate
to
it,
watch the
I
showcase,
want to know is 1 out of 10.
I want to know what your grade is for the Xbox showcase.
He would say, he'd say 7 because not all of them are going to be within 12 months.
It's a good 7. It was a good 7.
Jasper 7 is like a 9.8.
I know for most people. I know. I just missed him so much this weekend, and I missed Psychonauts too during the showcase. Man, I missed him. So, but yeah, Jasper is numb, Def. That's one way to put it. Jasper is pretty numb to things. So
he said 7. You guys said he said 7. It's so predictable.
It's so predictable. All right, Mav. Let's get into this a little bit. Let's just keep going with the showcase because we already talked about it to open the show and kind of got in a whole topic about that. As we're already over just about an hour in right now. So Mav, now that we've kind of had the week and we've both watched a lot of content, we both sat on this, you've talked about this showcase again on Monday night and stuff. So you've had some more time to kind of sit back and just really appreciate what the showcase was. I kind of wanted to ask you, and I brought this up earlier so you kind of know ahead of time, that just now that you sat back, out of that list of games, right? And there was over 30 games showing at the list, right? On the list, I should say. Just pick out a couple or a few that really, now that things have settled in, that really kind of elevated? Because you've watched the showcase
Yeah.
back, you've seen the reaction. What elevated for you out of the showcase, out of that list of games?
So
And
I'm
we can talk about it.
gonna pick the one that elevated the most, right? Because
Okay.
several of these
Yes.
I've had like high expectations for, and I've been already super excited about, and all these kind of things, right? But the one that elevated the most, I think, for many people, and also for me at this show, was South of Midnight.
Okay.
Like I think my expectations were kind of like here, right? But now it's up there with a lot of these other games because of what they showed. It really surprised me seeing the game, and that's why I made a tweet I made earlier today. Is like, and again, I see everybody, I keep seeing people talking about this game still, right?
Mhm.
And this is Compulsion, you know, like
Yes.
this isn't Coalition, this isn't, you know, Obsidian, you know, like we have a certain expectation of the kind of games that they've made before. They made We Happy Few, they made Contrast, right? Like that's what games they've been known for. And you know, we heard Phil talk about, oh, you guys aren't like, I'm super excited about what Compulsion's doing. He keeps talking about this for a long time, and we're all like, okay, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be great. I'm sure it's gonna be bigger, better than anything they've ever done. But still, that bar was still at a certain level for me, right? But actually seeing this game and the pure gameplay,
Mhm.
like that bar is erased. Like I have no idea what to expect as far as the amount of quality they're able to achieve with this game. And people that were there at the showcase and stuff all walked away with great impressions of it as well, right? So I see other creators or just random people now talking about this game. And this was one that was like, oh yeah, it looked cool. It was interesting because of the vibe and the setting that they had before when they had the last trailer last year. But
Yep.
now with this, putting this pure gameplay that just was an amazing trailer, first off, like great music, like just well made to kind of give you this idea of what it is, and then also knowing it's in 2025, right? Like all these things checked all these boxes, and it surprised me with what kind of game it was, with the style of the gameplay, with the combat, and yeah, the traversal, like it just lots of different aspects of it. I just had no idea that's what it was going to look like or play like, and so that one's been majorly elevated.
I think, and I'll just jump in here and give you
Yeah.
my thoughts too, because Compulsion definitely showed up for me, right? Or with South of Midnight specifically. We had seen, like you had said, the early teaser trailer last year, and I really dug the vibe, dug the music, and I knew what they were kind of going for with the Deep South. And so I was interested, all right, in what this was going to turn out to be. And I thought they showed. I've always been on Compulsion side. If you guys have listened to me for 3 years, you know, I have been saying that Compulsion could take a big step up given the proper time. This is only their third game. Like people don't realize, like Compulsion's been around
Yeah.
since like 2012 or 2011, 2010, something like that. 2009, excuse me. I just looked them up. 2009. Compulsion's been around since 2009, but their first game was Contrast in 2013. And you guys have heard me talk about Contrast. Again, one of the early games I played on PlayStation 4. It was a great game. I loved it. Indie game through and through. Love the concept with the shadow work. Again, platformer, so it wasn't all my thing, but man, the world and just the ideas were cool. I'm one of the few people that will defend We Happy Few a little bit. Again, not saying it's the greatest game of all time, but as somebody who's played a lot of AA games that nobody else will touch or that the majority will say are crap, when I was playing through We Happy Few, I was enjoying myself. And sure, was it by any means half baked? Yes, of course it was. They didn't have the time or the resources or the team yet to finish that game the way it should have been finished. However, I saw bits and pieces of magic in We Happy Few. And again, the game was good enough where I was enjoying myself and I was like, oh, this is crap. Like a lot of people have said about that game. I actually really enjoyed We Happy Few for what I played of it. And I thought I saw the potential from Compulsion games during that time frame when I was playing that game. So that's why I've been on there. That's why I've been on backing them and saying, hey, again, Phil giving them time, resources, building them out. Like we could see something cool from Compulsion here. So seeing this trailer, Mav, I was like, yo, okay. Story wise, the atmosphere they created with this trailer speaks to me. I am personally a fan of the stop motion. I know that that's not going to be for everybody and already heard a ton of people. I'm hoping Compulsion will let you turn off the stop motion for those people to widen the audience during the gameplay. But that is truly, we talked about this in the past, that is truly an artistic choice, right?
Yeah.
We've had people try to tell us that 30 frames is artistic. I'm going to tell you it's BS because, again, elsewhere it's not. This is an artistic choice, right? This is something they decide that makes their vision what they wanted it to be. It's obviously in the cutscenes, right? And then obviously in the gameplay. People are like, yeah, but the gameplay looks really smooth. Is that really stop motion in the game? Yes, you can tell it is, right?
Obvious.
Yes, obviously. So I think they did a great job blending that too. So I hope more people give this a shot, especially because it will be in Game Pass day one. I hope some people even on the fence about it because of the stop motion do give this game a shot, because I think Compulsion definitely deserves it. Is it ultimately one of the standouts for me? It's not ultimately one of the standouts of the show for me. Did it certainly make me smile, and did it make me say I want to try that out? Absolutely it did. And I'm going to try it out. Could it be possibly a game where after I play it, when it does finally drop, I go, well, that actually wound up being one of the best games of that showcase? Sure could, right? But right now, it's hit me certain places, the right spots, and then other places I'm like, okay, it looks okay. Like some of the gameplay, I was like, all right, it looks pretty good. Like it's Compulsion. It looks polished. It looks good. Is it all my type of game right now from what I've seen? No, but there are other elements to this game that I know are in here that we're going to find out later on, because she's got other abilities. Now, they showed off a very limited amount of abilities in this trailer, which is fine. You could tell this was one of the opening parts of the game where she's limited. That is cool. If she powers up, if she gets some more skills, and I see some little bit of magic out of her, I definitely could be on board with this. But I thought this was a great showing, Mav. And I understand why people like you and others that I've been listening to really say this was a standout. This is those unique experiences that we say must continue to be a part of the gaming industry as a whole, but also a part of Xbox's diverse lineup that they always have. They have stuff for everybody, but this once again also, Mavs, goes back to our case for Phil's vision, for Xbox buying all of these studios. They allow the studios to be who they are and to create these games that many other big publishers would never greenlight, right? There's a lot of publishers who would have looked at this game, looked at Compulsion's track record, and said, no, we aren't giving resources to do this game. This is not a safe bet game at all. Oh, you're going to do stop motion? How's that going to... Gamers, not every gamer is going to like that, There would have been a lot of pushback and a lot of boardrooms on this type of game from Compulsion. But Xbox, being underneath that umbrella, allows them to go do this. And Phil had nothing but faith in Compulsion from the beginning. Every single interview early on in this generation, or even prior to this generation, he always brought up a Compulsion and what they were working on. It shined through during the showcase. So I gotta give Compulsion a round of claps for this one, because again, liking what I'm seeing, I'm so happy they showed up, and so many people are actually really interested and already in love with what they're going for here. So yeah, no, I thought it was a good showing. Just not one of mine, like top 3, like ultimate showings here that I've pulled up, but understand why it is for a lot of people. It was really great to see this.
Yeah. For me, it's like, as far as like category of elevated, that one was the most elevated, right?
And I get you. Yep.
The man, it is really hard to narrow down a few here, bro, because like I
know.
There's like a lot of these games just showed so damn well, like so it's hard to pick and focus so much, but
it doesn't have to all be first party either. So if you want to bring something else in, please.
I mean, they are all first party though. Like
okay.
I'm gonna say the one that gave me the biggest wow factor.
Yeah.
And that was Fable.
Okay. Awesome.
Fable, I was dumbfounded when I saw the
Okay.
end game shots, the gameplay.
All right.
That I've never seen a fantasy game with keep the fantasy aesthetic,
Yes.
but look so realistic at the same time, right?
Okay.
And when
Yeah.
they showed the shot of in the town, it was like a dream come true, right?
Mhm.
Like Fable is not only being brought back, right, but in a grander way than it's ever been before. But the
Yes.
shot of the town kept true to the spirit of the original games.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation, the way the NPCs were talking, the things that they were saying, the personalities, it kept true to the spirit of the original kind of writings and stuff with Fable that had this kind of sense of humor, this like kind of sarcasm to it, and all this kind of stuff. And like Fable just made my eyes pop out of my skull. It made my heart beat a little bit faster. It made my jaw drop. Like that game, I think it might be my most anticipated game now. Period. Like just point blank. Period. Over anything else, I cannot fucking wait to play Fable. And then they said 2025, which was like, yes, our predictions on that came to be a little bit true on when we were expecting it. So, well, they still got to deliver on an actual date and let us know more and stuff. But I can't wait to find out more about it. I can't wait to see like more like just gameplay sequences, like more drawn out and longer sequences to where we can kind of get a vibe for all those different aspects. But yeah, I'm Fable blew me the fuck away, dude.
Yeah. Yep. Playground has stated their goal publicly is to become one of the world's best developers. And they had already achieved master class level, right? Master level with Forza Horizon, right?
Yep.
Changing the arcade racing game forever, right? 100%. The fact that they took Forza Tech and turned it into Fable Tech and somehow have, again, they did, first of all, great work in bringing back a lot of Lionhead people to make sure that they were going to get the tone of Fable correct. But like you, Mav, the transferring, and I know some people aren't necessarily vibing with the fact that they've changed it graphically from more of a whimsical kind of fantasy to the more real type of graphics. But I got to say, Mav, I'm on your side that the fact that they did make that transfer and kept the feeling of the Fable humor and kind of that whimsical world around it, mixed in with some, like that giant toad was straight out of a fairy tale book that I read as a kid, right? That the fact that they've found a way to blend it all together, and we still have a lot more to see. And I agree, Herd Theorem. I am curious as to why they are not talking or have not shown a little bit more of the morality system between good and evil in this game, because that was a massive part of Fable.
In this trailer, that's what they were alluding to a lot with the.
They were alluding, right? But I want to see what their take on that is, right, Matt? Because we know what it was back in the day, right? And obviously, what was promised was a much grander idea than actually it wound up to be, but it still wound up being really, really good, right? And it was the main draw for me. The idea that I could choose to go full evil and that it would affect my appearance and all that kind of stuff, would affect how people talk to me. I want to see how they've evolved that now, Mav, after all these years, right? And see what their spin on it is. Like, that's what I'm really, because that is a big part of it. But everything I'm seeing leads me to believe that, and I have the utmost confidence, obviously, in Playground Games, that they're going to pull it off and that it is going to be spectacular. And the bits of combat that we have now seen with the powers being used in some of those scenes, I'm all in. Again, I think they've nailed all of that. So yeah, going into next year, Fable is obviously going to be one of my most anticipated games for sure. Like, there is no two ifs, ands, or buts about it. especially as an RPG lover, I cannot wait to see what Playground's final vision looks like, how it feels and plays. And I can't wait till we finally get the direct on this game where we do get to deep dive some of the mechanics and some of the systems. And we get to see some of how they've taken the old Fable and made it brand new for us in 2025. That is what I'm waiting on. But yeah, this showing was amazing, and Playground is knocking it out of the park every time I see it. The characters are freaking cool. And like I said, the writing, the acting, top notch, man. This is ridiculous.
It's funny because when the first time when we found out Playground was doing a Fable game, we're like, how are they going to do the characters and stuff? Because and that's what a lot of people's conversation was, because the characters.
Have you seen the Horizon NPCs?
Right, exactly. And it's like we were like, oh, what? But obviously, it's a racing game. It's different focus, you know.
Of course.
But seeing the level of quality, it's you can tell it's got that Playground quality stamp to it, you know, that they apply to the cars and stuff, you know, for the racing games. Like they are serious about these games.
And that's why I brought up the fact that they publicly stated they want to become one of the world's best developers, right? And again, everybody can say, well, everybody wants that. Yeah, but when you put it out there publicly like that, and then you back that up by showing that even though you are taking on a whole brand new genre for your dev team, that you are applying the same level of expectations that you have when it comes to Forza Horizon, and you are doing this first open world RPG that your team has ever done. Now, obviously, some devs there have had open world RPG experience, but you are applying that same level of expectation just because we're doing some new genre. Oh, no, we're not going to allow ourselves to slip. We want to be considered one of the world's best devs. In order to become that, you have to come out swinging no matter what type of game you are working on. And that's what they're doing here. They are establishing like, hey, just because this is something we've never done before, oh, no. We are bringing that same level of pride to this game. And on top of it, as I've stated for years, the fact that they're doing their first open world RPG, it's not a new IP. The fact that they're taking on Fable, one of the most beloved RPG franchises in history, especially on the Xbox side of things, and you're reinventing it, that is another challenge that a lot of dev teams never would have want to put on themselves. But Playground was like, bring it on. And they obviously, again, are delivering so far.
It was cool seeing Eidos Montreal confirm also publicly that they are helping with this game.
Which
as well.
We knew. We heard the smoke. Yeah, we knew that. But
we knew about that a couple of years ago. But seeing that was awesome as well. Like, I think this game's going to be a special game. I can't wait to get my hands on it and actually see what it feels like. Right. All right. Then the next one, Pong. And I mean, no surprise that I've been talking about this game for a long time, saying I can't wait to see what it's like. And I just got to get my eyes on it and know what they're creating. And that's Perfect Dark. And oh my God, dude. When we were kind of talking in the pre-show before the showcase, and it's kind of crazy with what our suggestions were, how close we were to what we saw, but still seeing it visually and put together like that, it represents something even different than we're even trying to explain what we expected. Like seeing them with that. It felt somehow so Perfect Dark, but so refreshing and so new and original at the same time. Like with the sequence that we got from Perfect Dark, I don't think I can say I've played a game that's really exactly like that. You know, like with the kind of mechanics that they were showcasing all blended in together with the aesthetic that they had. And it's another thing, like I judge kind of things by how much I feel the urge that I need to pick up the controller and play what I just saw, right? And Fable did that with their gameplay sequences because I had to like feel what it's like to be in those moments, to walk through that town, right? Perfect Dark with the close quarter combat animations, right? With the takedowns, with the pistol mechanics they had for like targeting multiple people, felt like old school, like Perfect Dark, but then also the movement of getting around the town, infiltrating. It felt like you're not just like you're an infiltrator, right? And you're going into these sequences and these set pieces and these scenes that feels like there's going to be a compelling story there, but the gameplay and action seems like super solid as well, and like moment to moment gameplay combining with the stealth, movement, combat, graphics, setting, gadgets, heavy emphasis on the gadgets and using them to your disposal. It felt like a crazy blend between like Deus Ex, classic Perfect Dark, something like Mirror's Edge or Dying Light, you know, like all these different things kind of combined into this crazy looking spy thriller shooter game that slash RPG. I don't really know what to make of it exactly what kind of game it is, except kind of just it's a combination of all these different things, and
It is.
it looked like it could be just fucking special as well. These guys are making original content, like the original games. These games, we're seeing why they've been taking so long, right?
Yes.
And go back to Fable 2, like another crazy thing, Pong, like they took Forza tech engine, they converted it and kind of made this new thing. Like I call it Fable tech. I don't know what they call it, right?
Yep.
But to
Fable
think
tech.
about what they could do with that engine afterwards, like about the possibilities and with what we're seeing. And then Perfect Dark, I don't remember what engine they're using or what not. Maybe it's Unreal or whatever. I don't know. But regardless, they are building these things from the ground up to be these big original ideas and stuff. And it's obvious that's what's taking so long, because it's not copy and paste. It's not cookie cutter shit here, right? This is games that are going to have their own original identity and feel. And that's special, right? Like, it's what I want as a gamer. I don't want every game to be the same. All these games are so damn different from one another, man. And Perfect Dark, I've never played anything that looks and plays exactly like that. I had expectations, but seeing it, like visualizing it now, it's like, wow. Like, it's another one. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I gotta agree here. This was one of my standouts as well. This was the first one we kind of doubled up on here. So, but Perfect Dark was one of my standouts. It is Unreal Engine 5, by the way, too. So it is Unreal Engine. Yeah, all the times that we talked about the Perfect Dark reboot, and let me start here. So many questions around the initiative. So much doom and gloom around the initiative for the past couple 2-3 years now, with, you know, people leaving, the original vision of the studio not turning out to be what actually wound up being happening. Daryl Gallagher obviously sticking it out, becoming the ultimate head of the initiative at the end of the day, as all that other talent that they had initially brought in kind of left, and then him going and getting his old team, you know, at a time when Square was bad-mouthing Crystal Dynamics, talking about how they weren't good anymore, you know, that their games were disappointments. Again, they didn't say that Crystal Dynamics wasn't good, but they just said, you know, all their games were disappointments to them. And finding a way, and Phil obviously being a part of this because he's cutting these deals, getting him his original team from Crystal Dynamics to come in with people that he knew. We talked about this years ago, Mav. What an absolute advantage that was for Gallagher, because those people that they brought in at Crystal Dynamics, a lot of them would have already understood Gallagher's mind, how he spoke, what he meant when he said something during development, and that this was the best chance for them to recover, you know, from all the talent leaving, that this was perfect to stabilize. And yet we still heard the doom and gloom. So for all these years, we've waited to see Perfect Dark, and we got the teaser, which was absolutely, that's all it was, a teaser, right? Kind of gave us the atmosphere, kind of the story, a little bit about what was happening that Joanna Dark was going to be facing, but really nothing much else. And still the doom and gloom happened. And yet here we are now at this showcase with all these other games, all these other massive big titles, these great looking games. And you show up for your first actual game showing, and you got people talking about how great it actually showed up. It doesn't have a date yet. I think we're both on the same train here, Matt. 2026, right?
Yep.
Probably a launch title for the new console, potentially that holiday would be a great job. Whenever it shows up, now that we got to see it and that they did everything we talked about, using all the gadgets, getting Joanna Dark back into it, but nowadays stuff, right? Nowadays stuff, the voice recorder and using it. But also to me, Mav, I'll throw one more game in here that I have heard other people say, but Godspeed to Arcane Austin, right? But Dishonored.
Yeah.
Like Dishonored, the fact that we've now confirmed that they said this, that they are blending in immersive sim, that you're going to be able to attack, you're going to have objectives, but they're going to be open-ended. And you as Joanna Dark get to decide how you want to tackle these objectives. That to me screams, I'm going to love this Perfect Dark. Like, this is what I was looking for. And the fact that they're doing it, and I just really, again, we don't know. I think they're a couple years away from this game. They got so much time. This wasn't the biggest wow factor game from overall, like, just, oh my God, I can totally tell it's Unreal Engine 5, but it had its moments where you could see it, where the stuff they've polished. I was talking about how dense the city looked because she was in Egypt, right? She was in Cairo, Egypt, very close, tight quarter streets and all that kind of stuff. But the level of detail of objects that were on the screen with the NPCs and all that kind of stuff. And when she went inside, all the stuff on the walls and the rugs and everything that was placed already in this level really impressed the hell out of me. And then again, she got into the combat. Of course, she had the stealth stuff, but then when she had to go hot, my God, close quarters combat mixed with these slow motion, take down 2-3 guys with gun blasts and then go back and smack the dude in the head with the gun. Beautiful. Jumping off the balcony, landing on top of one of the guys below. Dishonored. Like, that's what I saw. Dishonored, right? Deus Ex as well. It's a great shout out too. Deus Ex had a lot of that stuff too. Blending all of this together with the parkour, the movement, and they still got a couple years, I think, down the road before we see this game launch. This game could be like not just the return of Joanna Dark and Perfect Dark, because again, there's a couple generations that don't even know who Joanna Dark is, or have just like a little inkling of who she is because they've heard some of us old heads talk about Perfect Dark or whatever the case may be. This IP has been gone for so long. This could explode back on the scene as, okay, Perfect Dark's back. Like, Perfect Dark could be that game that people are talking about in a couple years. Like, oh my God, can't believe I'm playing Perfect Dark again. Or new people jumping in going, holy shit, was this anything like the old games you got? Look at all these gadgets I got. Oh my God, this is great. Stealth is back again, everybody. It's something me and Mav have been asking for nonstop. Like, this could be that moment with this IP after all these decades to come back and really make its mark. And I'm so happy for Gallagher. So happy for the Crystal Dynamics team. I still, after Perfect Dark launches, what are we doing to make sure that Gallagher still got his team, Phil? What are we doing? If this game comes out and hits, Crystal Dynamics is still owned by Embracer right now. Is that deal still? What are we going to do to bring that team in? But we'll worry about that when we get to that point, because I want to see consistency with this Perfect Dark. If this Perfect Dark comes out and nails it like we are seeing that it probably potentially will, I don't want to see that team I don't want to have Gallagher have to go out and get another team together. I want that same team to stick around, but we'll see. I'm so happy for this showing though. Really stood out to me. This was one of mine too, for sure, Mav.
Yeah, for sure, man.
God, I'm so excited, man. Perfect Dark looks so damn good, bro. For me, I guess like I said, Perfect Dark was one of mine. I'm having a real hard time here. I'm going to start here. And I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but I'm not too much. Avowed. Avowed to me, Mav, because not only the showcase, but also the additional deep dive this week that we got, right? I watched that. The improvements and I was already high. Avowed was already my most anticipated Xbox first party title this year. The improvements that we heard were happening all came true. And again, I didn't have a problem with the original showing. I said, that's Obsidian through and through. Yeah. Don't have a problem. Melee combat, first person melee combat always looks wonky. It doesn't matter who it is, Bethesda or anybody else. It always has a little kind of goofiness to it. So I didn't have any problems that these nitpickers are out here or these clowns were out here trying to downplay Avowed. But let me tell you, going and seeing the showcase, all the different environments that they showed during the showcase, the extra clips of the magic use in the showcase on top of the extra deep dive that we got earlier. I think it was Tuesday this week, really told me, okay, yeah, again, why I've been saying Obsidian has always been Bethesda's little brother, and under Xbox, they could take that next step. I'm seeing it here. This is a veteran team who knows what the hell they do. They make the certain style games that they do. Love them or hate them, that's up to you. For me, I'm a lover of Obsidian type games, okay, and Obsidian games in particular. But the extra work that they have obviously put in, we've heard they've moved to Unreal Engine 5.3. We heard that the build that they showed off the last time before this showcase was an older build and that things had even gotten better, but they took to heart a lot of the criticism people had about the combat, and you can see how much work they've already put in. They've confirmed they're in the polishing stages. They confirmed that 2024 is looking very solid for them. I know some people are worried because they didn't give a date. I know we had that little blip where the date supposedly is November 12th. They pulled it down right away. But listening to them talk about it, Mav, I am 100% sure that Avowed is going to come out, and it is going to become some people's favorite title this year. I think that even as great a year this is, I think Avowed will, for those of us that do love Obsidian, I think it has a chance even for me to surpass Dragon's Dogma 2, which is my game of the year right now. I think it has a chance to surpass it. I can't wait for Avowed. So what Avowed did here was, again, come back around, even though we've seen it now, come back around and answer a lot of questions that people did have. And I'm not talking about the people who are just going to downplay it all the time because whatever. I'm talking about the actual people who were like, no, I like Obsidian games. It just wasn't showing as well. I heard a lot of people flip that this week and say, okay, now Avowed is looking okay. Now I'm seeing it shine. That was good to see. For me, I was already sold, but I really thought it stood out to me here.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Avowed?
I thought it looked great. I've always thought it looked great. As far as the funny thing is, like, I'm kind of like, as far as the trailer itself, for some reason I like the other trailers they've done better before.
Really?
Yeah, because this one was more just like quick cuts, you know, a lot of quick cuts of like moment to moment things and stuff. And then, like, I kind of liked how before they were really focusing on like one specific thing. So because I just mentally I'm able to focus more and pay attention to what I'm seeing. Right.
No,
I don't know, but like I thought it showed well. I'm glad that people are starting to realize that it's an Obsidian game and that it looks like a great Western RPG. Right. So this is the kind of trailer that I guess is going to get them to understand that. I didn't see like a big difference for me personally, but what we've seen before, because I always thought it looked great. Like I didn't really understand or see what other people were seeing and noticing before, because it for me it was this because it's this kind of style of game that it is, right? And for me, this trailer just showed more sequences and more areas. And yeah, they said they took some things to heart with hit detection and stuff like that, but like that's all they really mentioned was hit detection is the biggest difference, right? So that I don't know if that's going to shine through ultimately on a trailer like this about that kind of difference. I think people are just seeing it in a different light, and it's a cut. The trailer is cut in a way that appeals more to them, right? For the most part. For me, I was like, when they showed the trailer at the last showing that we got it at, and they had the shot of them on the like there was like a sequence where they were on a dock and like walking into like this like little town on the beach or whatever. And I was like, when I sat there and watched that one back in 4K and was watching it, like, so I was like paying attention to all the little details and all these things. I was like, wow, it looks amazing. So for me, I was already kind of ultra sold on what this game is. Trailer wise, I felt like there was so much different scenes they were showing so fast. I wasn't able to figure out what any of it meant, as opposed to it's just, I think it just tried to show more action for people, right?
Yes.
So
And to show their upgrade, and like I said, I was
Yeah.
combining with the deep dive. I don't know if you had a
Yeah.
chance to watch, did the extra stuff, but the extra stuff did show off more
Mhm.
as well. So I was kind of combining those two, but I totally get what you're saying about the trailer for you and that kind of stuff. I definitely saw the improvements. Like, and again, for me, I was already sold. I didn't care. Like, even if it
Yeah,
showed
yeah.
up the same as it did before, I was like, I don't care. It's an
like
Obsidian game.
Oblivion had the like back in the day, Oblivion
Yes.
had the same kind of mechanics and the same things,
Yes.
right? And like I never cared like whatsoever like about the way that the clunkiness of some of the combat and stuff, because like
Yeah.
it was the game was about the world, the exploration, the environment, the skills, the
Care.
abilities, the love,
Decisions.
you know, like and that's what Avowed's going to be like.
Yes.
And nobody was ever complaining too much about Outer Worlds and its feel and all this kind of stuff, you know, like so when it came to the Avowed and I see all the feedback about this kind of negativity permeating around it, I was always like, it's not that kind of game, guys. This isn't like a action game, really. It's
Right.
it's a Western RPG, like classic fantasy based Western RPG, and I was always sold on it for those merits. And that's what when I see the trailers for that, I always like think about I want to see the trailers more for those merits, not for the action. And this was like more, I think, geared towards all the people that are like downplaying the action of this game. Here's all the action, right? And that's what I saw in the trailer. But it was a good trailer. I think it got a lot of people on board.
Yeah, I think so too, and that was the thing I was happy about because
Yeah.
I did hear a lot of that when I was watching people's
Mhm.
responses. Or
Yeah,
reactions.
it's like they knew what they had to do, so they just did that instead of what
They did that.
you know.
Yep, 1000%, and that's what you got to do sometimes as a dev team, right? Especially
Yeah.
showcasing your game again after people have already seen it, and some people have already made up their mind. You got to come back with something that's going to appeal to a different set or get people to look at it a different way. And I think that they did that. And again, Obsidian's a veteran crew, man. They know what they're doing, man. That's why I never had any doubts that Avowed was going to come out and be great. And I do think it has the potential to be something special. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it is still dropping this year. Again, all sites are set for 2024. So I am got my fingers crossed. We are going to get it this year, as they say we are. So I could do Doom. I could do Indiana Jones here. I could do a lot of different things, right? And since we both kind of agreed on Perfect Dark, I'm going to do an extra one here, but I'm going to throw this extra one in here right now because I don't think we can talk about this showcase without at least one of the big third-party titles that came out of nowhere, Mav. And that, of course, is Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
Yeah.
My God, man. You want to talk about one of the surprise moments. We get them. We get them a lot in showcases that games come out of nowhere. And again, we talk about this all the time, Mav. This industry, yes, it has its issues. It's contracting in a lot of ways. There's lots of layoffs, but we've always said it, Mav. We've got so many devs leaving and creating their own studios from all these different places that health of the industry overall is still in a really good spot. Do they have to figure some things out in the AAA space, especially? Yes, they do. It's obvious. There's problems, especially with the big boys. And we know that indies studios come and go, and it's a big risk for these people. But to come out of nowhere, Sandfall Interactive with Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, show up on the biggest stage during E3, not E3 time, on the Xbox stage, amongst all these other titles that we're talking about right now. All these other big name IPs returning from all these huge ass studios. Sandfall Interactive, made up of former Ubisoft devs over in France, shows up with a title that nobody's ever heard of before. They have never made a game. This is their first game. They're using Unreal Engine 5, and they show up with this quality ass trailer that blows people away, so that this is one of the games that people are talking about in their big lists of games that really impressed them here. They are in there with all the big boys and girls. Like, you just don't see it like this all the time. We get a lot of cool looking indie games like Replaced, which we didn't see this time around, which is crazy. Replaced and all these kind of games that show up and leave their mark, and we all talk about them. But this game is a game that people now and for 2025 are looking forward to as one of their most anticipated. They show up with this game. Nobody knows what it is. At first, it kind of looks like we're going to get a third person over the shoulder kind of adventure narrative game, right, Mav?
Yeah.
That's how it kind of presents. Great looking characters, great looking setting, right? You can see the environment right away, heavily detailed, looking beautiful. They got this whole story with the paintress who paints a random number each year, and everybody of that age, whatever that number is snapped away, right? That's it. That's all there is to it. And then they go on. They have selected, every time this happens, they select a group of people to go and try to kill her so that this will stop happening to their friends, family, and everybody else. That's the setup. And then they show us clips of characters walking through these big open environments that give you those same vibes of a third person over the shoulder narrative kind of action game. And then all of a sudden they cut to the actual combat map. And what does it turn out to be? A turn-based RPG modernized with the action of some of your Final Fantasies, or if you want to go back to Lost Odysseys or Legend of Dragoons or whatever you want to compare it to, but it's gorgeous, Mav. It's got all the special effects that you want. You can see that there's some rhythm timing based stuff in there where you can add extra effects or get extra attacks in. They talked about it too, that there is gunplay where you can actually start the battle before you actually engage the enemy with a gunshot that can actually give you an advantage ahead of time. But everything is looking beautiful. And all of a sudden people, us included, on the live stream, sitting up and going, oh, whoa, what do we got here? What? Is this a JRPG? Like, none of us knew who the studio was. We're like, is this from the East? Where is this from? And then we find out they're from France. So impressed that a team of obviously veteran developers, there's zero question about that. We know how much talent Ubisoft has. We know how much talent they've bled over the years, but we had never known that this studio had been formed and that they were working on a game like this to show up. And they talked about all the influences, and yes, their influences are JRPGs. What a showing on the biggest stage, Mav, amongst some of the biggest titles to stand out like this. So Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is one of mine for here. I got to put this in here.
Yeah, man, out of the new game reveals, like ones that we haven't heard about before or that we didn't, I mean, we obviously knew about Doom Dark Ages because of what had come out, right? But out of the games that were just like, what is this? Like that, I mean, that game is on my radar big time. I went and looked up stuff about the developers, Sandfall Interactive. This is their first game that from some veteran developers that had kind of started their own studio. They've been working on stuff for a couple years now. They found a YouTube channel of one of the developers where they're kind of just making a tutorial on meta, on how to use like a human faces and stuff like that. Like, and like you see this now. And there's also a video of the reaction from the team too, seeing their trailer on the stage, and you can see like this is a studio to keep your eyes on people. Like this, it's full of passionate developers that know what they're doing. What we saw was not a too good to be true moment, right? No. This was legitimate what they are creating there. And when they showed this was like a JRPG in a sense, but it's made by like French developers, right? And like set in France, like. But the turn-based aspects, it looked like Lost Odyssey in a ways. Like, but then they explained like, okay, you're going to be able to react like real time to things during it as well. Like the graphics combined with the gameplay, combined with what they were showing of the story and the characters, this could be something really special, right? So 100%, I got this on my radar. And Game Pass deal, right?
Say it. Yes.
Shout out to God Emperor Sofa King with a $2 super chat. Says Xbox Showcase made Chris Dring look stupid. Yeah.
Game Pass was dying off according to Dring. Yeah. They weren't going to be investing heavily in Game Pass anymore, and a lot of developers didn't see any reason to go into Game Pass anymore, or even invest in the Xbox ecosystem anymore.
Yeah, that's what he said after coming away from was it
Gamescom last year? I think.
Last year, yeah. And I was like, man, this is like so like they have so much first party stuff going on and like so many games in development and so many different things and so many deals that they've been working. Like what is this guy talking about? And it was just probably one conversation he had with one developer that worked with one studio or one publisher that had their own little thoughts, and then they take it and they spread these things out there like it's the narrative, like this is the reality of the situation, just because of one little conversation that this guy has with somebody, right? And that's the problem sometimes with this games media and all these kind of things. Like, they have this conversation with somebody, and it's all of a sudden, oh, this is like, well, this is big news. Oh my God, I'm so super concerned about the future of Xbox now because of this one person's random thought opinion about something that they don't know the whole picture on, right? Any single developer or person working at any of these publishers don't have the whole picture of what Xbox is doing, right? So
Right.
you go and talk to Phil Spencer and he tells you that, it's a different story. But when you see his showcase here and you have several games that we never even heard of before announced that they're going into Game Pass day one, right? Plus also all the first party shit, and then ABK and Call of Duty, all of this stuff is also going into Game Pass. And to go out there and try and say that there's a less focus on Game Pass going forward and just kind of spread that misinformation and this doom and gloom about the future of it, to the point where people were like, oh, is they going to move on from it, Game Pass? Or are they going to start taking their games away from Game Pass? Oh, but like, if people aren't getting into the ecosystem, maybe third-party publishers are going to stop wanting to put their games on the Xbox and stuff. Like, and that permeated, that kind of spread throughout the community. Now what do we see? We see even more publishers putting their games on Xbox than ever before. We see Square putting their games on Xbox now. Atlas has been putting their games on Xbox now. Everybody else is putting on Xbox now. Other publishers are becoming more multi-platform, seeing it as a valuable place to put their games. We got to stop letting these games media that have one conversation with one person that has one thought about something from their own perspective that was ill-informed to begin with, dictate the narratives about the games business. We got to look at the reality of the situation and the things that are in front of us and what's actually happening. And when we see it and we see the showcase and all of these things going on and all of these games, what is the reality? That these games exist, that they're going into Game Pass day and date, that new big games that people are now excited for are going into Game Pass day and date. From third parties, from first party, from everybody. That's the reality that we live in. That's the reality of the situation with Xbox. That's the reality that's going to be the next several years on the Xbox ecosystem. And they've been ignoring it. But this showcase, you're right, makes those people look dumb as fuck. Because you can't deny it now. You can't deny that a game like Expedition 33, people were like, whoa, what the hell is this? This looks great. And then they put it in Game Pass day one, right? Like, there's no denying that stuff, right? Like, these games are going to move that needle, you know? Everybody keeps talking about fucking Call of Duty in and of itself. When they doubled down on that, when they said it, how many times did they have to say that for people to actually listen and take notice? It wasn't even them. They said it twice. And it came out as like little news or whatever. And then it took a leak of a journalist from, was it Forbes or Bloomberg or whoever? Oh, they're going to be doing this. And people are like, what? It's real? Yes, they already told us this shit. Just pay attention to what's actually going on with Xbox.
Going right back.
Yeah, and you will understand the situation that the ecosystem is in and what there is to look forward to and what games there are. It shouldn't take this undeniable lay your shit all out on the table for them to actually have some kind of semblance of what's actually happening in the games industry. But that's unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in. These people, they just don't actually pay attention. They come up with their own mindset, their own opinions, and a lot of times based on people that themselves don't have the whole picture or are misinformed in the first place. That kind of happens with rumors. That happens with leaks. That happens with all these opinion-based articles constantly, all the damn time. It shouldn't take having to have a showcase like this to make a statement. They've had the best showcase in gaming the last several years. The last several years, they've had the best showcase for the entire season. PlayStation isn't showing up. PlayStation isn't doing anything as far as showcases to tell their audience what's happening. Nintendo has directs every once in a while where we see, okay, that's cool, it's coming to Nintendo. But as far as platform holders, who's actually showing up and showing out? In the last several years, it's been Xbox. They've been actually talking about their games. They've been actually telling people what's coming. They've been actually laying out the pipeline. It shouldn't take this everything under the sun, undeniable, best showcase ever to make people pay attention. Because the others are absent. The others that have been praised, the others that have been propped up as the right way of doing things have been absent. They haven't been showing shit. They haven't been talking about their roadmaps. They haven't been talking about their pipelines. Where the fuck are they? How come nobody out there is asking, where is PlayStation? None of the games if Xbox was absent this year, I gotta say this. If Xbox did not have a showcase this year, right, and PlayStation had a showcase like Xbox had, the amount of conversation we would hear about negativity and the doom and gloom about Xbox is fucked. That'd be the entire conversation. You'd have, wow, PlayStation is all, look at all this. And everybody be like, where the fuck is Xbox? Oh, I guess they're getting out of the games business after all. Right? PlayStation showed up at Summer Game Fest and now it's fucking a game that's going to the Switch when we've had 4 months about conversation about possibility of Xbox multi-platform in the future. There was none of that conversation with PlayStation. They didn't even choose to show their own fucking game at their own showcase because it was going on the Switch as well. Where's all the doom and gloom about the future of PlayStation's platform and their ecosystem? How PlayStation's console's no longer going to be possibly relevant in the future. Where's all the conversation about that? Where was all the conversation? None of it has happened. The only thing people say is, wow, Astrobot could be a Game of the Year contender.
Oh, of course.
Well, fuck off. Really? Like, they show one game that looks promising and actually good that for an entire fucking year, right? From their first party. And that's all of a sudden enough. That's all of a sudden enough. That's all of a sudden good enough for your fans, for your ecosystem, for everything that's happening, right? Where is their showcase? They had one last year, in the first in several years. The first showcase in several years they had at PlayStation. The first real thing that they actually called a showcase. And it sucked ass. It was horrible. All they had was games of service games that looked like samey type of things that we're getting on other platforms that are free. That are already free. To this year at State of Play, the big game they want to talk about, Concord, right? How many other 5v5 hero shooters have we already got announced this year that are fucking free? That they have to compete one here with. Valorant is even coming to their ecosystem for free.
And Fragpunk.
And we got this little 30-minute State of Play with a bunch of bullshit in it, except for Astrobot, which looks pretty damn promising. Where is all the conversation about why is PlayStation not showing out like Xbox did? Where is all the conversation about I'm concerned about the future of PlayStation? Because even with Xbox's great shows they had the last several years about talking about these games that everybody chose to ignore, still nobody talked about PlayStation and their absences.
No. It's excuse, man. It's fine.
So you can have Xbox can have the greatest showcase ever to many of these people now, and be like, oh yeah, and then there's like nobody's talking about it. We spent a while on FSP talking about it because I'm like, where's PlayStation at? Where is it? Where I miss the days of E3 when we had Xbox, then PlayStation, then Nintendo. They were all competed, right? Could you imagine PlayStation coming to the table and trying to compete with that showcase? I would fucking love to see it, man. Where is it? Why did you disappear? You're sitting on your ass.
No, we talked about it. We talked about it, Mav. They started chasing the games as a service. They started using their high quality VR, number one, and then games as a service. They started taking some of their big teams and working on games like Factions, like the Spider-Man, right? Multiplayer game.
Yep.
They took their best teams and started working on them. Now they have other teams that are working on stuff, but those teams needed to reload because they gave everything that they had. And they don't have the backup teams. But they split their teams to work on all this other stuff, which took away from the mainline games that everybody's come to expect from Sony. And now they've canceled over half of their games as a service. So they got nothing. They got nothing, man. They were supposed to have a whole lineup of games as a service games coming out. They got nothing. We talked about this.
How many people gave me shit when I said they had a first-party games problem like last?
Oh God, it was hilarious.
God, yeah. Dude, like people are like, oh, they don't have a problem. What are you talking about? It's like, look at this. Yes. Look at it.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
People cannot they're not paying attention, man. They're not paying attention. And I'm not saying this to just shit on PlayStation. I want the games. I want them to have games too. Like, this is something that I don't understand how there's been such a double standard for so long, and we're into a good stretch of this now coming up, like for PlayStation and what they have going forward. Remember when Jim Ryan left? We're like, hey, there's a shitstorm ahead, right? We could see it. Yeah. They've run out of the sequels, like that they were releasing, and the remasters. Like, what are they gonna do? You know, and they had all those pipeline of games of service games that they didn't know how to make, and they've canceled them all, and like they're in this sticky situation now, and like it shows, man. Like,
yeah,
but there's no conversation about it. Nobody's
because
fucking talking about it.
It's the cool kids.
It doesn't
man.
make any
it's
sense.
The cool kids. It's a cool kids club.
Pong, if PlayStation had a showcase like Xbox had just now, Xbox showed up with a little like Xbox like show thing, like an inside Xbox, like that was matched like the level of that state of play.
Yeah,
the amount of Xbox is fucked. You know, Xbox is closing. Xbox is shutting down.
Yeah.
Conversation would be crazy.
Of course it would be, but there's always an excuse, and there's always again, we've talked about it. Like I said it from the get-go. I just thought it was going to happen by now, that they were going to announce the PlayStation 5 Pro, and they are holding back to showcase their games for the PlayStation 5 Pro. But those games aren't going to be coming anytime soon. We know this, right? They've filled the holes with second-party and third-party deals, which is fine. It's what they've always done, but they've always gotten extra credit for that. Whereas a year like 2021, Xbox gets no credit for, or 2022, I should say, Xbox gets no credit for it, for the stuff coming into Game Pass, because they're not technically exclusive. Whereas Sony goes and pays for things like Final Fantasy VII and things like Stellar Blade and gets those things attached to their consoles, and the media and the other people give them credit for that. Whereas Xbox gets none of it. It's always been this way, because Sony is the cool kids and Xbox isn't. So that's why they are always given a pass, and they're always given the excuse. I mean, God, for God's sakes, even Drink came out today and wrote an article about why Sony going multi-plat makes sense now. Like, what? Like, how do you guys not? You guys know your own hypocrisy, but you just don't care. So this is going to continue to happen. It's going to be this way. Again, Xbox is playing in their own field now. There are people admitting that there is no way that Sony is ever going to be able to put a showcase together like Xbox just had. They just don't have it. They don't have that amount of talent. They just don't. They've got great talent. They've got a lot of teams. The only roadmap we have is Insomniac's leaked roadmap. That's all we know about. But the PlayStation 5 Pro, they're going to try to sell hopes and dreams, and the media is going to be there to lap it up. And even if most of those games are a year plus away, the media will write all the glowing articles about the PS5 Pro and about Wolverine and about whatever else they show there. All they got to do is tease The Last of Us 3, and you know people are going to be tripping over themselves, talking about how great it's going to be. It doesn't even matter if they don't see anything other than a splash screen. That's always going to happen. Right? I'm excited personally for Corey Barlog's team and whatever he's been working on. If it is a sci-fi game, I'm excited to see what he's got coming teasing. But the media will always give them a pass, Mav. Again, Xbox has been dead in the past year about a dozen times now. Like, again, we were on a streak there where it was nearly every other week there was a new Xbox is dead, it's over with. It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid, but it is what it is. Now that Sony's starting to move multi-plat, all of a sudden it's a good deal. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yep.
It's always going to be this way. Anyway, side tangent there, guys. Side rant. Mav's got his rant off tonight. Love it. Love it. But yeah, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 was a standout for me for sure. I got to say, Mav, my last one here, I saved it. And I talked about it in the beginning a little bit, but Gears of War E-Day. As Cog likes to say, grown man tears. As we were talking about, I had gator tears for sure. I leaned back in my chair. If you guys were watching the live stream, I leaned back in my chair for a reason. The minute that Mad World, the simple version of Mad World started playing in the background, but seeing Gears and after so long, and like I said, I thought for sure we, just like most people did, most people assumed it was going to be Gear 6. Most people assumed that the Phoenix Collection was real. I still think the Phoenix Collection could be real here too as well. But we had no idea because we saw the young Marcus Phoenix, and everybody, Steel, right? Oh, they're doing it. They're doing the Phoenix Collection. Like, that's young Marcus, blah, blah, blah. They're taking us back again. But then when it wound up being E-Day, and it was something that nobody could have guessed, all of us talked about, or a lot of us talked about going back, right? Like I said, I thought I haven't heard a lot of people through the years complain like I have. Again, 4 and 5 are good games. I'll never take it away. Of course, it's high quality. It's Coalition. I enjoyed what I played of 4 and 5, but I hated the whiny ass kids. And for years, I've been the one, whenever Gears comes up, get rid of the whiny ass kids. Or if you're going to do number 6, put them through hell. Put them through hell. Kill some of them off. I hated those kids. I really did. It was not Gears. But to have this show up at this showcase as a surprise with E-Day, Emergence Day, taking us back to the beginning of the relationship between Marcus and Dom, and who knows who else is going to show up potentially here during this story. To hear Coalition come out and confirm that they wanted to they were happy with what they did with 4 and 5, but that was a different story told by a different team, and that they're trying to do something. This was too good of an opportunity for them to pass up to go back. They heard the hardcore old school fans saying, listen, the open world was fine. It was, you guys tried it. You did your thing, but it was really empty. Why did you do the open world? We liked the much more close quarter combat. We liked the feeling of somewhat horror-esque elements of always being fearful for our lives and what's around the next corner, what's going to pop up underneath us at any given moment in the original Gears games. All of those elements seemingly were lost to a certain degree with 4 and 5, and the robots were stupid. And get us back to see Emergence Day show up here. Truly one of the special moments. And I am so glad that I got to share it with you all, as a lot of ex-Gear fans, or ex-Gearheads, old school Gearheads, I should say, still love the franchise to death. People saying that Gears is a dead IP. Gears is long past its prime. Gears can't come back. Let me tell you something. If the conversations that are now being had about Gears E-Day from all over the place, so many different people that have not been Xbox fans in over a generation, talking about Gears coming back, getting emotional in their reactions to Gears E-Day. If that says anything, we are in for possibly a huge, huge resurgence. People re-downloading Gears again. just like people did with the Fallout show. And remember, folks, we got 2 Gears shows in the works too as well. Gears Mania is just starting to ramp up. But for the Coalition, after all this time, to take this, the longest time they've ever taken between games, and come back at this showcase again, one of the best showcases in the history, according to a lot of people, or at least the best Xbox showcase that I've ever been. And to be that one last thing at the end of the show and surprise everybody by saying, we've heard you. In fact, we agree with you. We want to go tell the story of one of the worst, well, probably the worst day in that world's history, Emergence Day. And we're going to bring back the dude bros that you all fell in love with in their prime, no less. And we're going to show you, because again, the thing that Gears never gets enough credit for outside of the fan base is that everybody just knows that the dude bro shooter game, it is so much more than that. The story and the relationships between these big muscle bound dudes that just go around slaughtering everything in their path, the relationships that they had with their families that were missing or dead already because of what was going on in this world, because the locust has shown up. And suddenly, after they had just gotten through a massive world war, no less, and had done more damage, never gets enough credit. The emotion that was built into that game, the story that Cliffy B and that team were originally telling, never gets enough credit, in my opinion. It is why it is one of the greatest trilogies ever put in front of us gamers, those first 3 games. But they're going back, Mav, and they're going to do it. And I have the utmost faith in Coalition. I don't know how they're going to get multiplayer back in 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, whenever this launches. I don't know how they're going to get the multiplayer back. I don't know what they're going to do to refresh it. I don't know what changes they're going to make, how they're going to bring it back. But my God, the fact that they're giving us a story alone is the biggest W that Xbox, I think, has had on their stage in decades. This is that moment that so many of us knew they could have because they've got this IP. And for me, this capped off the entire incredible Sunday. Now, I know we had the Direct and the Call of Duty and all that kind of stuff, but this capped off everything. This was that 360 moment yet again. And yes, you can go, oh, Pong, it's just your nostalgia, blah, blah, blah. No, go look at all the reactions out there when this went down. Go look at those live reactions. Go look at the people re-downloading Gears yet again to run through it. Gears is fucking back. And that is massive for Xbox. Yeah. And let me tell you, as these shows hit, again, watch out. Gears is on another level. People don't know unless you were around during that time, Mav. Sorry, I've taken enough time. I knew I would be emotional with whatever they did with Gears, just seeing Gears back on. But this brought it to another level for me that I didn't even know about. And I've been sitting on this all week, rewatching that trailer, seeing Marcus and Dom yet again together in their prime before they're even really badasses. You saw how they started that trailer with Marcus getting his ass kicked by one single drone, right? Like that. And now Coalition's confirming that they are going to make the Locusts the badasses instead of the fodder they've eventually become in that series. They're going to go back to making the Locusts so that even one Locust can kind of scare you in the game, as it should be. Mm-hmm. My God, man, what a moment! Go ahead, man. Sorry.
I mean, you're right, man. I got chills. At first when they started showing it, it was like, oh, they're doing the Phoenix collection. Yeah, this is real because I could hear the chords, and I knew that I knew early on when we're doing the reactions and stuff. Like I heard the certain notes being played. Like it wasn't like they weren't being in your face with it, but I just recognized it instantly. I was like, this is the song. I was telling you guys, listen to the music. Like this is gonna, and I was like, this is the Phoenix Collection. The trailer progressed, and it was like, Dom. I mean, I like not Dom. Marcus looks really young. You know.
Yeah.
I was like, never seen him this young before. So then it was like, what's going on? And then the trailer kept going, and then you can hear the Mad World like start to pick up, and it become more clear that's what the song was, right? And then you see Dom, right, in that moment, you know, and it was like,
yeah,
oh shit, okay. So it was like, it's just, what is this though? Because this isn't a scene from anything I remember, you know, like, and then they show the logo on the screen as Gears E-Day. It's like fucking prequel. Like they're going there, like that. That's like one of the hardest things to do. I think probably for these developers and stuff is when they're making a trailer to announce a new game to create something that's going to be memorable in and of itself, right? Yeah. And somehow Gears did that originally with the first Mad World trailer with the first Gears of War, right? And this trailer with the even like the song was a part of it, but they did it in a completely different way. But like this trailer will be a memorable trailer.
Yes.
This trailer in and of itself will be something that people remember, right? That scene, how it was presented again to us with the feelings and the vibes that it got. This trailer will be a memorable trailer, right?
Yeah.
And that's got to be super hard to do in gaming. Like create something that people are going to remember for years and years to come as a moment, but also remember the different aspects of it and how they made them feel and what they realized about what the game was going to be. And what we can take away is that they're going dark, right? They're going gritty. They're going back to the story of these guys becoming brothers and all that kind of stuff, in a setting that we wanted to see. We wanted to see these characters when the shit hit the fan, right? We wanted to witness this. We wanted to be a part of the story. And now we're getting that. And who knows what this means for the future, right? Supposedly Gear 6 is not completely off the table. But going in this direction, the dark horror, making the Locust something to fear again, you know, like no more fucking robots, you know, like, let's go in with this hardcore Gears setting. And when the shot they had overlooking the city of like all the fucking emergence holes, all these things happening, like what the fuck, man? I can't wait to play it, dude. And I don't know when it's gonna come out, right?
Nope.
But I don't care. They're delivering upon the vision that we kind of dreamed of, right? So that's what all we could ask for. Now, when it was interesting, a lot of the stuff that took place afterwards because of the conversation about the trailer specifically. It was like some controversy afterwards, started by Keeley because he tried to make a big deal about that it was like, you know, CG trailer, and then the developers were coming out being like it's running real time. Then people come out like it's not running real. Who gives a fuck?
Coalition confirmed. Who cares? Have you guys seen Coalition's work? Have you seen Hive Busters?
It's like
Jesus Christ.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like let's just focus on how awesome it was, you know, like, and not trying to diminish or what they showed. I mean, like these kind of trailers happen all the time in gaming, and nobody like tries to downplay what they just fucking saw. It, like, especially in a showcase, like if it was all we got, this entire showcase was just like CG trailers or whatever, it's like one thing, but like go out and question the fucking Coalition.
Yeah, no.
Like
doesn't even matter.
Like
it doesn't.
It's matter. So fucking stupid, man. Like that trailer was insane, and I think Keeley when he was doing that, I think he's a little bit bummed how much better the Xbox showcase was in his own show. You know, I think he was probably not in the best mood overall this past weekend after the reception he got with his audience.
Not for his own poll.
Exactly after his audience giving his own showcase a D. And then we all kind of know how he feels about Xbox and everything, and Big Corp and things like that, and seeing like that Sony's not right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
giving, and then everybody on his own poll gives Xbox Showcase an A, right?
Right.
And he had a heavy Sony presence at his show, and all these kind of like, I think he wasn't in the best mood, right? Overall, and I think he just was trying to throw some shade where he could, downplay things where he could, and it's just interesting, man. But overall, like Gears, fuck.
Yeah, bro.
Gears just like it brought that moment, man. It brought that moment. That's what we talked about. Like, it wasn't the exact way that we said it, obviously, because it wasn't a game that we predicted. It wasn't the Gears we predicted, but it's still, they managed to capture that moment, dude. And you're right, watching back the reaction type things and stuff, I've seen a couple of them, and everybody was like, oh, this is Xbox is fucking back when they saw Gears.
Yes.
Just like we said that they would if they did it right. And that's what they're saying, man.
That was a testament to the entire show itself because of how good it was, but to end it right there with that Gears moment that we said was an easy home run. Again, not like we all predicted it, right? And the sublime version of Mad World in the background, just the few notes was enough, right? And I expect a trailer down the road to actually lean into Mad World even more. I would expect. But again, the fact that they recognized that moment and what that would do to everybody who was around during that time, and to actually say, let's go ahead and do that. Yes, we're going to shock them with the game because nobody's expecting this. I'm sure they knew that nobody had really predicted this. We had all said, take us back. I don't care how you take us back, but take us back. But they knew that nobody really could predict that they were going to do Emergence Day.
Yeah.
But then to say, but we got this easy home run. Let's just give them a little bit of that Mad World in the background as Dom is saving Marcus, and you see them both on the screen together looking young, right? Before all the shit, really bad happens, even though they just came out of the war and everything else. Let's give them that moment. Let's give the fans the nostalgic and let them know that we hear you. It worked completely 1000%. I couldn't have asked for a better way to surprise me with a Gears of War game, not being Gear 6 and not being the Marcus Phoenix collection right now. Man, you couldn't have planned it any perfect. Again, I'm getting older and I'm getting away from collecting stuff, and I don't buy stuff anymore. I had to go get the E-Day t-shirt. I ordered that E-Day t-shirt. Now I'm waiting for it to ship still. It hasn't shipped yet, but I got in, right? I got lucky. I got in, got my I don't do that. I'm on a budget. I don't have expendable cash even for like $36 with tax and shipping. I don't have money for that, like a t-shirt for that, but I had to get it. That's how much it hit me. And it hits so many other people. And I don't care when it comes out. I can't wait to see more of it. I can't wait to hear what they're doing. I can't wait to see the multiplayer, how they're going to do the multiplayer. Because they're going to do a multiplayer too as well. They have to. I don't care. I can't wait to see the grittiness again. I can't wait to see the Locusts as fearsome creatures that they are. Like, again, just bloodthirsty, heartless creatures, not just fodder on the screen all the damn time. Even the drones. I can't wait to see who they bring in. I can't wait to see how they do this. I'm so excited for Coalition. I'm so excited for all of us old head Gears fans who have been asking for something like this for such a long time. This is going to be a moment, and just going to let you guys know, we've already predicted it. We think this is a launch day title for the new system in 2026. 2026 is the 20th anniversary of Gears of War. It lines up perfectly. And knowing the Coalition, now we did get rumors today that they were planning on having Gears E-Day out next year, potentially. That's what's been heard by Tom Warren, that they were aiming for 2025. But do you really need to let Coalition just bake this sucker to perfection? And 2026 is the 20th anniversary. And if you are going to launch new hardware that year, Come on, man. Another easy grand slam for y'all. Xbox, do it. Just do it. Give us the Phoenix Collection next year. Let E Day cook. 2026. Let's do it. 20th anniversary, man.
Yeah.
Special stuff right there, man. So
Yeah, I think the Gears franchise is going to have always be an important part of what they're going to be doing. And there's certain staples, like Forza, Gears, Halo, right? People like talk about Halo's not going to be as important anymore, but they've alluded to the future of Halo so many times already, even after Infinite, right? So I can't wait to see what's next for that. It's kind of taking its time, right? For them. It was weird seeing showcases like three years in a row now without Halo showing up at all, right? At the showcase, but it is what it is, and eventually we'll see that again. Forza came out last year. They're still doing a lot of work on that. One thing that a lot of people predicted is we would see Forza Horizon show back up. Now, obviously, they're taking more time on that next one, as that's what you wanted, right?
Yep.
Like I think these franchises, they're doing something with Xbox now, and it's something where, as Phil's actually alluded to this, like they don't have the pressure anymore for those games to have to come out as often and to be like the system sellers and all those kind of things anymore, right? Like they can take their time now with those games and really try and deliver the special things that the fans are wanting, and I think it's going to be awesome to see what all of these turn into. I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, I can't either. And Luke's in the chat. Shout out to Luke. He says collection is likely for the anniversary. If they do it that way too, I'm cool with that, right? Whatever they do, if they've got another game for the 20th anniversary, that's all I care about. Whatever it might be, however they're going to work this. But to your point too, Mav, that's something we did talk about a ton, is they are now in the position where they can move the chess pieces around as they want to. They are going to have games like Nintendo now with this many teams that are ready. We've heard Nintendo hold games for 2 years.
Yeah.
They're ready. You can hold games for those moments because you have so much coming out and so much available to you. You can move things around as necessary. If a game needs a little bit more time, cool, just slot this other one in. We talked about that years ago, how this was going to start to happen. And it looks like it is, because 2025 is already filling up. 2025 is looking to, they're going to match this year. Xbox is going to match this year, and maybe even more so, because they're going to have games from the beginning to the end. I believe the start of the year, we're not going to have this first 5 months with nothing.
Yeah.
I think next year they're going to have 1 or 2 games ready for next year, and then the whole year through, all the way till the end. So it's what we envision, man. It's coming true. Isaac Hayes 85 with the $2 super chat says, "Hey, Mav and Pong, just want to stop by and say thanks." Yo, Isaac, appreciate you. Like, that means, love all of you for just giving us your time and showing up and listening to us dumbasses talk about this stuff all the damn time. Again, that's more important than anything. But Isaac, appreciate the kind words, and all of you that throw the kind words in chat while we're talking too. We see it. It's much appreciated. You guys are a part of the show just like we are. Yeah, again, without you guys, we're nothing. 2 dudes hanging out, talking to each other about this stuff.
Would be doing anyway.
Thank you. We love you guys. We love you guys.
100%.
And attention, ladies and gentlemen, attention aboard the fun speculation hype train. Listen up, everybody. The CEO wasn't done with his first bag of coal. He just surprised me up here in the engine room and said, "Oh, Pong, guess what? We got to shovel some more coal into this furnace and get up to Mach 3.5. That's right. Mav, once again, getting on the court with the easy 5 layup. And he's got a little extra choo-choo, motherfucker. Hey, Mav, get on this mic and give him a choo-choo, motherfucker. Give him one. You're all waiting.
I'm waiting for the German to finish.
Okay.
Choo-choo. Choo-choo, motherfucker. Choo-choo. Choo-choo. Let's go.
I forgot you have that handy now. I got to remember that now.
I added, you know how the Discord has this little soundboard thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, click on it.
I can't. Where is it?
It's like it's below our cameras. This little like.
Oh yeah. I see
Click on it.
the little megaphone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
click on the one that says choo choo.
Where the hell is it?
It's
oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep. I see.
Choo choo.
Oh God, now I can hear it.
There you go.
I can love it, bro.
There you
love
go.
it.
You can make your own choo choos now.
It's freaking
and
amazing, bro.
God Emperor Sofa King with the $2 super chat earlier also said Jim Ryan is the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh
yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Thanks,
He left him in a little bit of a state. And Hiroki Totoki ain't happy about it. So yeah, recovery time is happening right now for PlayStation. It's gonna be interesting. Again, they're doing just fine. It's not the death of PlayStation. They're gonna be just fine. But are they reloading? Yeah. Are they a little dead right now? Yeah. As far as content goes, yeah. You guys got Astrobot. Again, y'all hyping up Astrobot. Again, whether this was hey, it will be. Again, probably. And shout out. Hey, listen. I understand why it is in the vein of the Marios. Like, I get it. Like, again, even as a guy who, if this was an Xbox title, I'd be like, I'm not playing it. But everybody else enjoy it. I can see the quality. I can understand how this is going to appeal to people. But I mean, legit, you guys are hyping up Astrobot. Like as if it's like this massive IP. Like it's as if it's one of your big guns. Like, again, it's a good game. It's going to probably be a great game. Yes, it's probably going to get Game of the Year nominations. It is what it is. But come on, guys. It's not your Spider-Mans. It's not your Wolverines. It's not your third-person games that you all love, that you all hype, that I sat here and watched I watched a lot of you do reactions to the Xbox showcase and literally say that there was nothing there that appealed to you in the way that Sony games do. I can't, but Astrobot does. Okay. All right. Cool. Glad. Enjoy. Anyways, let's see, Mav. Well, I think we've wrapped this up. Again, showcase out of the park, masterpiece still. Yeah. Watched it back. It got even better when I watched it back in 4K on the big screen. Those games even looked more beautiful. Like, I was so impressed with everybody. We could have sat here and ran through the whole list again. There was so much here. Mav, do you got any thoughts on the Phil Spencer interview with our boy?
I mean, there was like not really any new information, to be honest with you. I mean, it was another kind of doubling down on handheld, the hinting towards that.
That's obviously coming.
Like, that's
the worst kept secret outside of Switch 2 right now.
You know, he said like different form factors, right? A lot of people are making a thing about the answer to the studio closures. You know,
CEO answer.
What do you want him to like? He's gonna be asked that question as a representative of Microsoft. He's only gonna be able to say so much. Like, he's not gonna be. He can't go up there and be like, "Hey, look, this was the exact financial reason brought out by our board of directors and our financial analyst and all of our people saying we need to be at this certain place and for return and to prop up our shareholders." And you know, he just basically said what he can is that, hey, as the head of this thing, sometimes I'm going to have to make some shitty decisions that I don't like. And that's what I've been trying to say is, like, he didn't want to do this. Like, this wasn't to me like a Phil thing. It was more of a pressured thing where he has to like make this decision, and they're going to have to go and pick what they pick. And there's no good answer with any of that. And a lot of people have been making it out to be, you know, financial success of the studios or the games or all these other different things. It's a cold calculated money move at the end of the day. And so that's all. What is he going to say? Right.
Don't agree with it. And we gave him criticism for it, but I never said fire Phil because of it. I never said Phil's blemished because his reputation.
And I'm not going to say his answer was insufficient either, because like, what do you expect? Any CEO or any like representative of these companies and a thing like are going to sound sympathetic to the employees? They're going to sound like that it sucks, it's a shitty situation, and that they didn't want to have to do it, but they did. I mean, that's just ultimately what it is.
Corporal speak.
Yeah.
Yep. Corporal speak. What else? More games coming. To other platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, he
that was the other one.
Like, listen, y'all.
That
I mean, I
was
don't
the
know how
most
many
clear, like
bro,
yeah.
bro. That was
That what I wasn't thinking about
chest
that part,
out,
but when he said that, he's just like,
chest out.
yeah. He's like, yep, we're doing it. Pretty much is what it is, you know?
Yep, get ready.
Yeah.
Get for all you people who wanted to think that we were just doing these four as the experiment. There we weren't going to do any. No, decision's already been made. We're bringing more games elsewhere. Like that's he said it as the most confident he could possibly be. Totally different than the podcast format, where I think again they were really off balance. And you know whatever they were trying to figure out the right way to speak to the community at that point. They came out with this. Oh, we're trying
I'm sure
these
Sea of
games as
Thieves
an
being the
experiment.
#1 game in PlayStation in May helps their decision.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think anybody who was still trying to believe they weren't going to do this, just buckle up, just get ready. If you all want to continue to argue about certain games are never going to go elsewhere, I would be mighty careful if that led you all on. I don't think right now that, as we've heard, anything is off the table. And I think that there are going to be some big games that some people claim would never go that are going to go down the road. But as I've stated through all of this, even when, I was, expressing my frustration that I would never have done this and that this isn't the way I would do business as charge of Xbox. But the reality is they're evolving. Right. But I still believe that even if some of the big stuff does start going, it is still going to be timed. I don't think we're at the point of day and date on a lot of titles. Yes, obviously like Doom is going to be day and date. We already know this, but I don't think like some of their other stuff, their first party stuff is necessarily going to be day and date, but like Elder Scrolls 6, I'm just letting y'all know, probably going to be day and date.
Yeah.
So, again, different Xbox, different position. They're evolving. This is what they are, but I caught that right away, man. The way he said it was completely different than it's like, listen, Xbox fans, we're putting more games elsewhere. This is what we're doing. It's good for the business. We are going to keep doing this. Like, that's what he said to everybody. Yep. So buckle up. That's what it's going to be. And if that kills your entire love of Xbox and you got to go, sell your Xbox, then I guess that's what you're going to have to go do. Again, it's Mav and I and everybody else on all of our shows have expressed, we're not going anywhere. I'm riding this train till the wheels fall off because my God, Game Pass, holy shit. The next 2 years of Game Pass, we thought it was a great deal before. I don't even care if I'd say this quietly, even if they raise the price, which I don't want them to do, even if they raise the price, oh my God. Like, okay, gladly. I don't care. Like this, I'm going to ride this until the wheels fall off. There's so much value here. It's ridiculous. Like it's over the top.
All those games, dude, that they showed at the show. And it's the third party ones too, like the Kepler Interactive or publisher games. There was just so much that they have, and there's more. Like what some of the people were talking about is that they have enough to fill up a whole nother showcase, really, if they wanted to. And and it's true. Like,
yep,
the amount of things that we didn't see is crazy when you start thinking about it and running down it in your mind that we know exists. Yes. Right? And that they could have announced. And it's what 3-Bit was alluding to about them cutting down the show, it's like, what did they hold for Tokyo Game Show? What did they hold for Gamescom? What did they hold for another Dev Direct? What are they planning for the Game Awards? Like the rest of this year, with the combining the amount of releases they have with the amount of other kinds of things that they can announce and show, the fact that they still have not even talked about the ABK games going into Game Pass and the past Call of Duties and all those other things, which they've said they're working on, but they haven't announced when or how they're doing it or whatever. The fact that they still have those. And then leading into 2025, which now we can expect games like Fable and South of Midnight already. And then who knows what other games are going to be there for 2025. Like, bro.
And we got the third party deals still coming. They keep making these deals. Expedition 33's Game Pass next year. Like,
and we came off of the Game Awards where they announced a game like Blade. Could you imagine if they had not done that and they even had added Blade to this show?
Right.
They could have. But that's what,
Clockwork Revolution could have been here.
yeah, they're going to hold things for these different shows
Yes.
now, like even big announcements, right? Like who knows what to expect at any fucking time, bro? And
Right.
that's the position of strength that they're in with their portfolio and their lineup. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. For a first party, we talked about this before. For a first party platform holder, we have never seen this.
No.
Never
Nope.
seen this much. This many studios, this many projects all coming. And all the other thing, they're all in that, like you talked about, Game Pass, they're all in the fucking subscription Game Pass day one. And like we didn't even touch on Doom, bro.
No.
Like,
no, and I could have.
As,
Like
a
I
game,
said,
as a Game Pass subscriber, do I give a shit that people on PlayStation get to play that game? No, I'm fucking playing it on Game Pass on my Xbox, like on my PC as well. Like that's where I'll be playing the game because that's where I'll have access.
I get two
to
copies. I get 2 copies
Yes.
of every single fucking game. Like it's even better for me now.
and
Like it's even more valuable.
Traditionally, I haven't been a Doom guy as much in the past, especially the last two, because of the way that the style was of always starving for the ammunition and having to do, have been kind of forced to use certain techniques and weapons and stuff and certain things to try and get what you need at the time. Has been a rat race. But what we saw out of this one, the Doom the Dark Ages, with the aesthetic, with the different things like the fucking mech and the dragon and all this other shit, man. Like, oh god, dude, it's like that one's screaming my name, like for sure. Like, especially over the last two, which were great games. I'm not trying to slide them at all, but like this looks like, dude. And people like IGN and other are talking about the traffic that they're getting. The number one things are like Gears and Doom.
Yep. Video game.
Yep.
Shocking. I know. Shocking. Like that again. Like that. People still love that. Give me something to just go destroy all the time. And again, Gears has more than that. I explained that, but I'm just saying. Yes, there's still a place for that. Not everything has to be one way or the other. There are still room for all these games, and the big IP still draw people to this day. They still do. Oh god, it's gonna be so good, man. We're gonna be eating so good for the next 2-3 years. It's already lined up, Mav. It's already lined up.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even talk about Age of Mythology, how that looks. Like again, there is so Aura. Did you watch the deep dive on Aura, Mav? By the way,
I have not yet, but I loved what I saw of the dev direct on that.
Whoa,
it's gonna be a crazy game, dude.
Bruh,
the talent at that studio is another one. Like,
I didn't realize.
I think that they are going to eventually announce that they've acquired Oxide Games.
Do you know there's an Xbox dude that in there from Xbox Game Studio who is a part of Oxide 2?
No,
like he's under. Yeah, he's the lead Xbox. They're co-developing this,
right?
So yeah, I got to and I did not know, and I should have, but I didn't know because I never really looked deep in Oxide. This is former Civ. Most of their studios, former Civ devs. Some of the devs at Oxide go back to the original Civ, all the way back, Mav.
Yeah.
And you can see what they are doing. And you got to watch the deep dive. They did a half and half. They did part Aura, and then the second part was Age of Mythology deep dive as well. Yo, we are, again, if you like strategy games like me and Mav, we're in.
Yeah, they're based in Maryland. They're a smaller studio, right? But I remember the when I was reading about the studio before, what seemed to me like as a potential target for acquisition, but also why their game looks so good. It's because they have tech there that's their own tech that they like. And I read this. I just brought it back up on the wiki again just to make it clear from my memory. So they have a certain kind of technology that is that have like a patent on or whatever. It's so they have the nitrous engine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it says the nitrous engine is a proprietary game engine used in development for Oxide Games. It uses the power of its proprietary swarm simultaneous work and rendering model technology to achieve incredible performance on modern multi-core computer hardware. So it's a swarm allows Nitrous to do things previously thought impossible in real-time 3D rendering, like object space lighting, the same techniques used in the film industry, and having thousands of unique individual units on screen at once. So they've been like with this as like partnering with other studios that have been like using some of this tech that they have the proprietary engine for or whatever. I'm trying to get the exact information, but like basically they have some really cool shit at that studio that's unique.
They were showing it off. They were showing it off. It was crazy.
So okay, here's what I was looking for. In April 2020, AMD and Oxide Games announced a multi-year partnership to co-develop graphics technologies for the growing cloud gaming market. Companies plan to create a robust set of tools and technologies for cloud rendering designed from the ground up to embrace the real-time demands of cloud-based gaming. Right?
Yep.
So, I don't know, AMD partnering with them for technological advancements, like, this is a legitimate studio to keep an eye on for the engineering aspect of about like actually creating engines and tech and stuff. So if I'm like Microsoft, you look at that and it's like, okay, these guys have something that's very unique and special about them.
What's interesting, Matt, is they talked about it in a deep dive, and that all their game is in the Azure servers.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they've created is a system, because you can set up these games, customize games because this is multiplayer, right? You can customize your game any which way you want to. You can have it so that you only have to play one turn per day if you're playing with friends, kind of like an old school Risk game, right? Like a way across, or a chess game across the world back in the day where each person made one move each day. You can do it that way, but they also have it because it's all in the cloud. They are able to have people drop in and drop out at random out of games. So, and an AI bot will take over for you while you drop out. So if you got a group, you don't have to worry about like these big 4X strategy games. So for these big grand strategy games, like you can have games that last days and days, weeks, whatever, and people get tired and drop out and would crash. The game's basically over with if you lose out a player. I mean, in the middle of everything, right? During one of these world takeover games. Well, now they have it so AI bots will just take over and that person can come back and rejoin whenever. And it's right back. So they are doing stuff technology wise that we haven't seen in grand strategy games. They are doing their world map. You should see it. It's procedurally generated, but you should see how it's doing it. Every time you do it, the world will be different and it'll be set up different. So every game's going to be different, but you should see the level of detail because they were zooming in on this stuff, man. They got wildlife in a grand strategy game. They got these wildlife running around, not like the wildlife we're used to where you just see like a, like a wolf, right? Just kind of sitting there, or like in Age of Empires where he'll do a certain pattern. These things are actually roaming around like real wildlife when they zoomed in. Everything looked fantastic. And again, this is a grand strategy game that goes basically from like way back, almost Stone Age, all the way up into nowadays and beyond. So the game can progress in those ages, not just like Age of Empires, which is very set, 4 different ages usually or whatever. This one goes all the way through all that tech, and they have all the mechanics in there, Mav, for everything that you got to craft, and you can compete on all different levels. Like there's not one way to win. You can focus on being a war general if you really want to and taking everybody over, or you can just focus on your arts, like in your social statuses, and you can win that way by achieving the biggest score. This game is going to change grand strategy in a lot of ways. This is going to set the new bar for grand strategy fans. I can see it already, and it's only coming to PC, which does stink, but they're still working on the console version. That'll come down the road. But man, strategy fans are in for a treat with Aura. It's going to be awesome, man. Can't wait.
Yeah. Nice. That's one I need to catch up on some of these, dude, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got so many now loaded in the PC. It's not even funny anymore. I've picked up so many on sale. Like so many games I got to play. Speaking of strategy, Mav, Jason Schreier, everybody's favorite. Jason Schreier today popped up in Reddit. I didn't even know this was a thing for Schreier, but I did go through the Reddit post because I was like, come on, is Schreier's on Reddit? And a bunch of the Reddit people did confirm this is the real Jason Schreier, and he does this from time to time. He showed up in a leaks and rumors, video games leaks and rumors section, and just randomly confirmed to everybody that Final Fantasy Tactics is being remade by Square Enix, Mav, our GOAT of tactics games. Like, I think we both are on board. That's the GOAT of tactics games when it comes to it. We both have such fond memories of that game. We've heard the smoke for a long time. It was part of the NVIDIA leaks way back. What was that, 3 years ago, 4 years ago now?
Yeah.
It's part of the NVIDIA leaks. Final Fantasy Tactics seemingly being confirmed by Jason Schreier today. Brother, just give me your quick thoughts, man.
And this was one of my like dream scenarios at this year's showcase season, that we would get the reveal of it somewhere.
Yep.
Didn't happen. Schreier, I guess, is trying to console people that were also potentially looking forward to this. And I am excited. I don't know when to expect it. I don't know what platforms it's coming out for. I can only hope for the best. Now. Yeah, like I was hoping like a dream crazy scenario to show up actually like at an Xbox show or something, like some deal with Square, right? But now I'm looking for the Tokyo Game Show, right? I'm looking towards for that or some other kind of announcement coming up later this year. Because if Schreier's already acknowledging it, maybe an announcement is more imminent than we realize, right? And Square could potentially have something later this year, something where it's time to reveal that game. I for one, like it's in my like top 5 list. There's like Mount Rushmore of games, right? Final Fantasy Tactics is on that Mount Rushmore. It's the best tactics game ever made for me. It's the best. For me, it's also my favorite Final Fantasy game. Period as well. So when this game gets announced, I want them to do it justice. I want them to really go out there and do a great work on it, and I want it to be available everywhere. I don't want any deals on this for certain platforms and shit. Like, I don't care, even if it's Xbox exclusive. I don't want that shit either. This game is one of the GOATs that needs to be fucking everywhere, right? Yep. Give everybody a chance to play it. And I hope they do. I would be nice if they put it in Game Pass. I'll say that as well. But yeah, I'm super stoked that he acknowledged it, bro. I felt that it was real. If Tactics Ogre remake was real, then Final Fantasy Tactics was real to me, right? So I've just been waiting for this to happen, and we'll see. We'll see when it is, yep. Man. Back in my mind is like, could they have like a quick turnaround announcement and release? You know?
Yep. I hope so. It could be a surprise. It could be a surprise drop. They could have been working on this. We've heard the smoke. Again, it was part of the NVIDIA leaks. And again, it's not like Tactics is like some major. It's probably going to be that new 2D, 3D stuff that they do that's so gorgeous with those old games. It
Octopath Traveler, Bravely Default.
Octopath Traveler. Yeah. Oh my God, bro. I can't wait. I cannot wait to go back to that game. It's going to be so good. Yeah, Delroy. That was one of the games I was trying to think of. I couldn't think off the top of my head when I was starting the show off, but Metal Slug Tactics is a demo on Steam as well now. I've got to play that one, and I've got to play G.I. Joe, the new like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version of G.I. Joe also has a demo on Steam. I got to go check both of those out. Those are 2 more that I'm going to try this week as well. But yeah, Metal Slug Tactics looks amazing, but Final Fantasy Tactics has to happen. Like this needs to happen. This is a go-to game. It needs to be brought forward for another generation to find out why this game, from us old heads, talk about it all the damn time. This is a perfect time to do it. Like, again, this is a big win for Square, and I hope it's multi-plat. I hope it's everywhere. It's got to be, like you said, Mav, enjoyed by everybody they possibly can. Bring it, Square. Hey, I know I got to have some Lollipop Chainsaw fans in the chat as well. It's coming back. For those of you that didn't know, they are remaking it. We've just been waiting on a release date. It was scheduled for this year. In fact, it is coming this year. So Lollipop Chainsaw Repop is coming out September 25th. That's right, September 25th. They released a trailer today. Some people are going to hate it because they haven't upgraded it much at all, but this isn't backwards compatible. So Lollipop Chainsaw, I've got a copy for the 360 because I still got my 360, and that's one of the games I rebought because it's not backwards compatible. Mm-hmm. The fact that they're remaking this game, and it's going to be playable on nowadays. It's coming to PlayStation, it's coming to Xbox, it's coming to PC, it's coming everywhere. The fact they're bringing it forward for another generation to get into Lollipop Chainsaw, I am all for it. I don't care if they didn't upgrade the hell out of it. I don't care. Just bring it forward. It is such a freaking phenomenal Devil May Cry like action game. It is so good. More people should enjoy it. Is it going to be the same? I don't know, because the licensed music from back then was kind of generational. And I don't think they relicensed all that music. I haven't heard if they have gotten some of the tracks back or the whole thing. So that was a big part of that game. But Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, September 25th. Count me in. It's an automatic. I'm ding, 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 ding. Winner, chicken dinner. I don't care how many games I'm playing. I'll have Lollipop Chainsaw Repop.
Yeah.
So anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. That just happened when we were live. Actually, we got confirmation on that one. Where do we want to go, Mav? I know it's already been almost 3 hours. You are already tired. I'm worn out too. There's been one hell of a
rumor that Psycho just shared in our DMs that happened today. Hasbro Gaming tweeted this. There's a rumor. A rumor. It's a rumor. There's a rumor that Xbox has signed a deal with Panache Digital Games for a new project, and it's from the original Assassin's Creed creator, Patrice Desilets. I think I'm saying that right.
Yep, you did a nice job. I would have gone with that too. Desilets.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember the original team is there. And I think I remember this developer at Ubisoft. I think I've seen him a few times. I'm not sure what he's done, but if it's the guy I'm thinking of, this guy might have also worked on Splinter Cell, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah,
I checked out the site earlier, so
I don't know if it's real or not, but like if it is, that's another game that they're funding.
Listen, how many games is that they're funding then now?
So the people can't fly. Again, there's a Dragon,
people say they're slowing down, and those are probably not going to be multi-plat investments, right? Am I correct?
Yeah,
If you're going to fund a game, I don't think you're necessarily going to put it everywhere.
Yeah, what was the other one that just happened? It was the creators of, or it was the teams that left Rocksteady, right?
Yes, it was the Rocksteady founders.
Rocksteady founders. Their studio.
Yes.
Was that one confirmed or was that one a rumor?
No, that was a rumor too, but a lot of people were saying the smoke's real. So, I mean, listen.
There's the Wu-Tang game from that team as well.
Phil's out here cutting original deals still, people. Like how much more proof do you have? How much more proof do you have to have? Sarah Bond was at the showcase, tripling or quadrupling down at this point on new hardware. It's all happening, man. Xbox is not going anywhere, man. World's biggest publisher. And again, if the case is that they're evolving into this part, which they already are, obviously, because again, they've been putting their games on PC forever, but if they're evolving further into the third-party publisher mode with some of their games, right? And that includes some big franchises, but that still means that keeps all the money men happy. Let's Phil continue to produce record-breaking profits. As he stated, I am the Microsoft CEO of gaming, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, and I have to run a profitable business. If this keeps all of that going and we can get games like South of Midnight from Compulsion, right? And we can have Double Fine go make their fun games, right? And we can have Coalition decide to take us to a prequel of Gears of War. If that means that I'm getting more games at the end of the day, yes, I still don't like the studio closures because I say, well, you could have kept them and had your cake and eat it too. I will still never agree with that, but it is what it is. But if this is what they're evolving into, but he's going to go out here and cut these second and third party deals for brand new IP or licensed IP, and he's going to start making games like this with other people in the industry as well. And I know all of that is coming to Xbox Game Pass day and date, day one. Yo, bring it on. Yeah. Bring it on as a gamer. I don't give two shits, man. Let's go.
There's also the Sands of Time is being remade.
Yeah, you were more excited. I obviously don't have an affinity towards it, but
I
I'm
loved it
happy.
before,
Yeah,
so you know,
yeah. I heard
this
you
will
were
be
really
the
excited.
third time they've remade Sands of Time, I think, or something. I think
Yeah,
the last one was a
yeah,
remake too, like so. But that's just a great story and awesome game.
yeah.
Another one that looked great. I want to know real quick if this one surprised you with how it looked. Was Metal Gear?
Uh, sort of, but we had seen it. We had seen clips of it, right? I like the fact that they are sticking tried and true. I
Yeah,
do. I gotta give.
it's like what I
I
would
gotta give.
want out of a remake like
I
that.
gotta give
Yeah,
Konami proper respect because I talk about this. If you're going to bring back the old IP, if you're going to remake games or remaster them, treat them with the respect that they deserve for their place in gaming history. And Snake Eater is obviously a fan favorite for the Metal Gear fans out there. They appear, and I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and say I'm the biggest Snake Eater fan or that I played it a billion. But from everybody who has, everybody is clapping and cheering for this remake because it looks like they are treating it with
yeah.
respect. They are keeping all the story beats as they should. Like, that's what I want from these publishers who decide to go do this. So yes, I'm all on board with it. I think it looks great. It does. It looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely, man.
absolutely. Mav, I did want to get your opinion real quick too.
Okay.
This was one topic I did want to get your opinion. Dragon Age,
Mm,
Veilguard.
yes.
How are you feeling after seeing, well, the trailer and then obviously the gameplay?
I don't know.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's like, it looks good, right?
Sure.
Like as far
Sure.
like the setting looks great, the city, right? The characters look great. The everything looks like shiny and
It's Frostbite
polished
engine.
and
It's Frostbite.
gorgeous, and it looks like there's
Yeah.
going to be some cool story. And there's a lot of positives here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the old school gamer in me, I watched it and felt like I'm missing a little bit of that hardcore aspect for the RPG-ness, right? Um, and it looked like it was maybe a dumbed down, more casual experience for Dragon Age, right? The combat seemed kind of like maybe even simpler than Inquisition, more actiony, right? I watched it and stuff. I gotta admit, I wasn't listening to everything that they were saying about how it was gonna operate and work. I know you can pause it and select your different abilities and stuff like that too. I saw that on there. So there's certain aspects to it that I liked. But overall, it's kind of like I don't know how grand it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a part of it, like your everything that you'll be doing and what the story is going to dictate where you go, what you do, and all that. I don't know, man. It's like BioWare has talent, but it doesn't seem like the kind of like RPG that they used to make. Does that make sense? So,
well,
it's more actiony than RPG,
which they've gone away from over time. That's why Inquisition was pretty divisive.
Yeah.
That's why even number 2 was divisive. Now, I personally enjoyed number 2, but people, even at that time, you had to be around after Dragon Age Origins for the launch of Dragon Age 2.
The problem was too was there was a lack of variety in the setting because you were pretty much you were in the town the whole time and a lot of it looked the same. And there was some certain aspects where we went to different places in there, but like overall, yeah.
But they had started moving away from the CRPG at that point,
Yeah.
right? And again, the fans, those of us that started with Dragon Age Origins, and I did, again, I'm not gonna BS you and say I'm the biggest Dragon Age fan because as the time's gone on, again, loved Dragon Age 1. Origins was freaking amazing, right? Yeah. Classic CRPG style, gritty, bloody, scary at moments, like every situation.
It was dark. Yeah.
Yeah, in every
Story,
situation, like you felt like you could die, like your character, like you had to be careful.
Yeah.
2, I still enjoyed, but obviously they had started moving away. Now, when it comes to Inquisition, I played more of the multiplayer
Yeah.
than I
It
did
was
of the
fun.
single player. I love the dungeon running. I love the dungeon running, right? I loved it. I thought it was freaking fantastic. But the main gameplay did not
Yeah.
jive as
It
much.
went to more actiony, zone based,
Yeah.
like open world style
Yes.
thing, you know.
This is just one of those cases, folks. And again, I'm old enough to understand this and I'm old enough to admit like things change, things evolve. It's already happened with me with so many things, obviously, Star Wars being the biggest one, that sometimes we just have to let go. And sometimes we just have to put our hands up and be like, okay, whatever. I am getting that feeling with Dragon Age Veilguard. I am happy for this whole new Dragon Age fan base that has fell in love with Solace and everything about Dragon Age and all the kookiness that nowadays generations do with their games, with the romanticism and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm all into the relationship building, right? I'm all into for, getting to that point in games, but there's this weird now thing with how big, video games and nerddom has become, that now we get into different fandoms. And I'm happy for that crew that's waited this long after Inquisition, for all the Inquisition fans that really loved that game and were waiting on this. I'm happy for you. But I'm also old enough to understand that BioWare, and I've been saying this for a long time, is obviously not my BioWare that I grew up on. No, there is nobody original from that BioWare. Literally, there is nobody from the original teams at BioWare anymore. So things have changed. I don't like the art direction. It is pretty, like Mav said. I'm not going to sit here and say the game was ugly. It wasn't fucking ugly by any stretch of the imagination. It was a beautiful game. It looked like a modern, colorful, Fortnite-y type game. That's okay. Again, Frostbite Engine's doing its job. I like the Frostbite Engine. They always said it was beautiful. But as far as the action, as far as the game itself goes, this is nowhere close to a day one for me. This is an EA Play edition down the road. I'll pop it in because I love character creation, and they said they've got a much more expansive character creation. I still love my RPGs. I love my high fantasy. I like all different styles. But as far as a Dragon Age goes, like this for me, Mav, is in the same vein as Mass Effect Andromeda. It's going to be a good, generic, hi-fi fantasy game, but I'm not going to be able to attach the Dragon Age name to it. Like I'll probably be able to enjoy myself. Again, I enjoyed Andromeda. When I went back to it, I was, hey, as long as I don't attach Mass Effect to this, and I just think that I'm playing some random sci-fi game, I'm having a pretty good time. Mm-hmm. But the minute I start thinking about Mass Effect, I'm like, oh God, this is fucking terrible compared to the original trilogy. I have the same feeling that this is the way it's going to be for me. So again, I'm happy for all the Dragon Age fans who are now current Dragon Age fans who have been looking for this. It's great to see it finally show up. It's just not appealing to me. The gameplay looked fine, but not what I was looking for from Dragon Age. Now, we've had articles come out and try to say, well, we played it and it does get dark and bloody like the old. I'm like, come, you guys are trying to sell me something. You're trying, you're trying to sell me on something. Go back and play the original Dragon Age Origins. If it comes close to that, fine. But I don't think with this art style and the direction that they're going with the characters, that is going to be the case. There is no way they're going to recapture that. It was a totally different game. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and hate on it. It's just one of those franchises that has evolved. It's no longer for me. So be it. Yeah. Right? So be it. What am I going to do?
Interesting thing, like it looks, like you said, it looks beautiful and gorgeous. Like I actually like the art style. It's just like, it doesn't feel like Dragon Age, right? No. So like, that's the thing. And like, overall, I'm still going to be day one on this. I'm going to be playing the shit out of it. And I'm going to be excited for it because I look forward to these kind of games. It's just in the back of my heart and mind, it's just disappointing it's not going more in the other direction, right? Because we don't get these kind of games that often, right? And for them, it's like a nerfed version. Yeah, and I don't want the nerfed version. I want the like what the original kind of vision for Dragon Age was. And for those that don't know what the original vision of Dragon Age was, originally when BioWare created Dragon Age, they created, it was in their mind the spiritual successor to one of my favorite games. It's also on the top 5 for me list of all time, right? I mentioned one of them earlier, which was Final Fantasy Tactics. Another one that's on my top 5 of all time list was Neverwinter Nights by BioWare.
Yep.
Old CRPG, right?
Yep.
And they created, Obsidian made Neverwinter Nights 2, right? But the team at BioWare then, instead of making another Neverwinter Nights or doing another Knights of the Old Republic or another one of these other things, they decided to create their own IP, their own franchise. They weren't like going to license Dungeons and Dragons, right? And we're going to do Star Wars. They decided to create their own dark fantasy world that's based on rule sets and mechanics like Dungeons and Dragons is, right? Yep. And bring it to be their franchise. And that's what the original vision for Dragon Age was, with the dark setting and themes, though, that inspired them from Dungeons and Dragons and some of these other things like they did with Neverwinter Nights. And if you played Neverwinter Nights as well, the old school CRPG, that got pretty dark as well for the time, especially. But this first Dragon Age went even deeper. It went darker. It went more bloody. It went more mature, right? It was like, okay, like this is crazy that they're going this direction. Like they never went as deep into CRPG territory because this was always an also console game, right? So they had made it with those aspects in mind, but they still kept it like, well, this is really cool. Like they're doing kind of a hardcore CRPG thing. It's coming out on consoles. It's like dark and gritty and stuff. And like they're creating this whole world and this universe. And it's like they just never like carried through that original vision to the next thing. They kept morphing it, making it a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more casual, a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more casual. Now they've had success with them, right? Dragon Age 2 was great. Dragon Age Inquisition won a lot of Game of the Year awards. I personally still loved it. I thought it was a great game. I enjoyed my time with it. But like still, when I was playing, I was like, oh man, this is like still not what they could have done, right? And this is like the next evolution of that, right? So they've turned this franchise that had one original vision, and now it's something else.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to enjoy what that something else is? Yes. I kind of wish the other thing still existed, but I think I'm still going to have fun with this.
That's cool. And that's totally fair take to have, right? And I totally understand completely. Like I said, I haven't BS to anybody. I have not hyped up Dragon Age. When it was Dreadwolf, I've said that I won't hold my breath on this new BioWare. I'm not holding my breath on the new Mass Effect. Saw the trailer, hit the nostalgic feels. I want to have faith that this new BioWare can do something. But Dragon Age, I just kind of knew that that time had passed for me, unless they did something really dramatic and kind of did a 180 on Dragon Age. And I disagree, Alvin. I disagree. I think that the grittiness and that kind of stuff, you could still be a true Dragon Age fan. You're just a fan of Origins more than any one other one. And yes, you can simply say, well, that was only a single game. And like I said, I totally understand, but we just got done talking about Gears of War, right? And most of us old heads say the same damn thing about Gears of War and the new one, right? Like it is a valid descriptor, but you know, again, I love Dragon Age 1 and 2. I didn't love as much, but I still liked it. And I get it. The relationships, the camaraderie, the forming of your party that obviously Mass Effect leaned into successfully, that's all there. And I get that. I just don't like the new direction. And if the art style itself isn't what I, necessarily wanted for a game, then it's just not going to appeal to me in that way. Again, I'm not going to trash it. I'm not going to say it looks terrible. It's going to be a terrible ass game. It's freaking ridiculous. I'm not that dude. I'm going to be like, yeah, no, I'm happy for everybody who's excited for it. Like Mav being day one, that's awesome. I didn't know after how you started out the conversation if you were still day one. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to. It's like accepting it for what it's not. Sure. I'm going to have to judge this.
Yeah, that's
just
fine.
Like Suicide. When I didn't get Batman, right? When Rocksteady announced Suicide Squad, there's that level of disappointment that's not the Rocksteady game that I wanted, but can it still be a good, fun game? And I really like Suicide Squad, and like I decided that game still looks like it's going to be a blast. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. They're gonna have a good time with it, and I'm still, so it's kind of like Dragon Age for me. It's like they're not creating what I would want them to make, but are they still making something good? For me, I think they probably are, and I'm gonna play it with an open mind to judge it for what it is. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I said, I'll play it down the road, and then, like I said, I'll probably play it like a generic hi-fi fantasy game, and I'll have my good moments with it, Alvin. And that's cool. If that's what Dragon Age is all to you, and none of the aesthetic or art direction has anything to do with how you feel about Dragon Age, I totally get that too, man. I totally get that too, and I'm not going to downplay that portion of it for people. Again, there's a huge still fan base. When they announced Veilguard and when they showed it off, when they showed off the gameplay, I saw a ton of people super hyped for what they saw. That's totally cool with me.
Well, that's
again,
great
I'm
graphics.
just
The gameplay looks fluid.
like I said, it's just not appealing to me. And again, I don't like the characters. So if you want to take that, I don't like the characters. None of the characters actually did anything for me. But again, I'm not claiming to be the biggest Dragon Age fan outside of Dragon Age Origins and some of Dragon Age 2. Like I said, Inquisition totally did not hit with me. And I played more of the multiplayer. That's all. So, Alvin says, I know a $10 super chat. You don't have to super chat, brother. You know that. Alvin says, I know I'm being a bit salty in chat, but as a massive fan of the series and its lore, I'm just a bit tired of all the Dragon Age conversations going off. Look instead of the narrative. I'm sorry. My bad. No, Alvin, never apologize, bro. You know, you're welcome here to have we respect different perspectives as long as they're not freaking, you guys are fucking idiots, or something stupid. Alvin, you've been around long enough, brother. You know us. I get what you're saying because I am that way with certain franchises. You know this. You've heard me speak out on certain franchises. Starfield's a perfect example, right? I can't stand that people focused in on the loading screens of all things, right? Even though it probably does bother some people. I get it. I get it, brother. I get it. So, no, I want you guys, and I'm happy for you guys that are true Dragon Age fans for getting this. I've said that it just evolved into something that I just understand at this point. It's just not for me anymore. But
I rarely ever play through games completely twice, right?
Yeah.
And I've played every Dragon Age all the way through more than once.
Yeah.
I love the Dragon Age franchise also. A part of the issue is it's been too fucking long, man. I'm sick of waiting sometimes like 10 years for these fucking sequels for them to dick around, and then finally, like, when they come out with it, like, I don't know what to expect. It looks like, for me as a Dragon Age fan, it looks great graphically. My heart wants more of the old school style a little bit more, but like at the same time, it's like, what is it gonna be, right? So, I'm gonna have fun with it, and it could end up being my favorite one ever. But man, if they made like a serious like Baldur's Gate 3-esque like Dragon Age, that would be like my dream.
I'd be all for
that. Yeah, that would be like, fuck yes, I want that, but EA's involved. So
no, and Steel, that did become a part of the series. Everybody who says that is absolutely 1000% correct. That just became a thing with the Dragon Age series. Every time the art style has been different. Every single time, right? And that's why I say 1, I like the best. 2, I sort of liked Inquisition, not so much. It was okay, like it was okay. But this one, again, the art style is just totally like Fortnite-y kind of. To me, the monsters don't look cool. Like the monsters that they showed in the gameplay, maybe there'll be some other monsters that I go, ooh, that's pretty dope, actually. But the monsters don't look cool to me in this. The characters don't look cool to me in this. Nothing looks cool to me in this. But again, I'm a hi-fi fantasy guy. There's still something here I'm going to enjoy. I'm just not going to buy it outright day one. So that's all. But no. No, Alvin says maybe I'm being a bit sensitive too because Borderlands conversations usually go the same direction. LOL. That's my GOAT franchise. I love Borderlands, and I agree with you there, Alvin. Like, I've had zero problems outside of the fact that I will still say they have never topped 2. Okay. They have never topped 2, and they haven't even topped 1 as far as I'm concerned with 3. Right. But I will always be day one on Borderlands franchise. When Borderlands 4 gets announced, like it was supposed to be, like the rumors were, I was hyped as fuck. I will always go play Borderlands. Like, I don't care what they do with the franchise. I will go play Borderlands games. Tiny Tina, like, you got me. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I was day one with the Ultimate Edition. I don't give a shit. I love that game. Anyways, may I have anything else you want to touch on, or should we get everybody out of here, brother? What do you think?
Get everybody out of here, brother.
Let's get everybody out of here. Shout out to State of Decay 3-2. We didn't talk about it, but shout out to them. Undead Labs is doing something special. I can't wait to see more. I know people complain because there's just quick cuts to, I can see what they're doing and I can see the improvement. So shout out to Undead Labs. I can't wait for State of Decay 3. Really loved what we played. I played alone in State of Decay 2 and then going back with you, Mav, a couple times in State of Decay 2. I can't wait this connected world, and we're going to be able to have a shared world this time around. We're going to have some fun in State of Decay 3 too. So so much there, man. We could sit here all night and talk these games. Call of Duty 2, by the way.
Yeah, looked great.
Bro, the reaction online.
The
reaction.
Really happy.
I know there's a core base that every year says, oh my God, it looks so much better. I'm saying outside of that core base, this has reached new levels of people going, wow, like the presentation. And I didn't say it during this show, but I'm going to say it right here before we get to outros real quick, Mav. Tina Amini and her team, Phil, whoever's listening, Sarah, Booty, protect her and her team at all costs. Do not let her, I don't care what you have to pay her, keep her at Xbox. What she did, and we know for a fact, she said it, she did have hands-on with that Call of Duty Direct. That's why that Direct presented better, according to some massive Call of Duty fans, better than any of the big Call of Duty showings they've ever done. People loved that Direct. Yeah. And it showed Call of Duty better than people ever anticipated. And I got to agree. And on top of the showcase, obviously, which she was the director on. She definitely laid out the showcase. Whatever you got to do, keep her and her team around. Because, again, hats off to all of you. You guys are just freaking amazing. Best hire in Xbox. One of the best hires in Xbox's recent history, by far. Yeah. Like, ridiculous. So. But yeah, Call of Duty is going to be big this year. Holy shit. All right, Mav, let's get everybody out of here. Again, chat, thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to us two old heads talk about nostalgic times. And I know a lot of you are old heads too, so you get into it too. But yeah, man, what a week. What a gamer's Christmas. Thank you all for coming back the next week to listen to us kind of digest some of this stuff and get through some of the topics this week. It's that type of the year. So we're going to have plenty to talk about, I'm sure, next week as well. Lots of games coming up. The months are filling up. Even the months that we thought were going to be kind of dead are no longer dead. It is such a good time to be a gamer, folks. Again, the doom and gloom, the storm clouds holding over the showcase, Mav. They kind of all just really dissipated, didn't they, Mav? It was amazing.
They're gone. It's like clear skies.
It's clear skies. Even the ones that want to bring their clouds, they aren't even talking because they know they're going to be shoot away. Nobody gives two shits. Yeah. Gaming is good. Xbox is one of the world's biggest publishers of games. We are all eating buffet after buffet after buffet. This is the best time ever. So thank you all for being here and joining us. Love and respect to all of you for joining us. Whether you lurk, whether you're here live in the chat, it means the world to us that you're giving us your time, which is one of the, if not the most valuable thing you have in the entire world. So thank you all for being here, joining me and Mav. So Mav, get us out of here, brother. What are we doing? We're doing Xbox Ultimate tomorrow?
We're doing Xbox Ultimate podcast tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Going to have a blast talking to Xbox and going through and get everybody's favorite games that they saw and kind of where we're sitting at now. It's like almost like a new world with Xbox where there's a lot of positivity and excitement all of a sudden. Oh, who could have predicted that was going to happen when they started having showcases and games releasing? Weird. Anyway, besides that, we'll be here Monday at FSP, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then back here Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern with Pong and I. And then maybe we'll have a random Mavcast or some shit like that. Who knows? But choo-choo, everybody. Thank you.
Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Listen, y'all. You know how to find me. PongSoul on X, formerly known as Twitter. PongSoul on the Xbox. PongSoul on Steam. PongSoul on Epic. GOG. Wherever. You can find me. I'll follow you back. I will be there tomorrow night for the Xbox Ultimate. We'll see how much of the family we get together and kind of get their thoughts on the now that the kind of everything is settling in after this big week of gaming. We got more stuff we could talk about. We didn't even really touch on the Ubisoft Forward. God, Star Wars Outlaws is looking fucking phenomenal, bro. Anyways, we got a lot we can get into tomorrow night. Assassin's Creed looked good too. Hell yeah, man. So much. It's all this year too. Fuck.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to talk about a lot of that tomorrow night on Xbox Ultimate. So join the fam tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, right here on the same Bat channel. Saturday morning, buckle up, extra buckle up for me and Steel, living split screen Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central time. Steel and I already am using my abilities to forecast this. We are going to have a long conversation about Gears.
Yeah.
Okay. You're talking about old Gears heads. You're talking about Steel, who was on the competitive Gears side of things, along with just loving the franchise in general, wanting something like this forever. We're going to have a long Gears conversation Saturday morning. Plus, a lot of other conversations I'm sure will come up around that with everything else that we saw here this week and some of the community reactions. It's going to be a fun show on Living Split Screen. 3+ hours, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Split Screen's all one word. Living Split Screen. Join us. We had a huge turnout last week. It was phenomenal energy. We get the chat involved. We're going to have the chat involved this week, I'm sure, too, talking about all this stuff, especially Gears. But be there for Living Split Screen. And then, of course, Saturday evening is normally the Shop podcast, but PTK is taking a few weeks off. So just to give you guys a reminder, we are going to have a few weeks. PTK doesn't know how long it's going to be. Shout out to PTK Blam and the family, too, by the way. His son, he put it out there publicly, so I'm going to say it here. If you guys didn't know, he put it out there publicly on X. His son had some seizures the other day and was in the hospital. He's home now resting. PTK did update everybody and say, he's got a long road ahead of him, but he's a tough kid and he's doing good. But shout out to PTK, who was already planning on taking time off. So now especially even better for him and the fam. Prayers, love, all energy to you, PTK, Blam and the family. And please, you guys say an extra one for him and the fam if you got a chance, if you got a moment. But so we will be off Saturday night. So your Saturday night is free to go watch another show, go play those games like you always do whatever. We'll be back when PTK gives the announcement that he's back. So otherwise, next week it starts all over again. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Boomstick's the man. Tuesday, Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. All good things green. So happy to see Boom getting down to LA and having a great time and meeting a bunch of people and just having a time of his life down there. Shout out to Boom. Again, his show on Tuesday is extra special to me for Xbox Factor, so be there. And then Thursday, I will be back here with this man right here for PM in the PM next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, right here. Listen, y'all, golden age of gaming. I'm telling you, we're going to remember these times when we're 80 years old. How great these years have been. It's just getting better and better. So golden age is here. Play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to y'all real soon. Mav, get us out of here. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Choo choo. Hold on, Mav. Hold on. Let's play it. Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Choo choo.
Oh god,
love you all.
Choo choo.
Yeah, 2 years.
Choo choo. Ha
I love it.
All right.
Love you all.
Peace out, guys. Have a good one.